Get 'em Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want, plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone, I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, feed the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered, can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon, 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, July 22nd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. What a day we have ahead of us. I'm refreshed. I'm excited. I can't wait for the second half of the MLB season. And at 3 o'clock today, we hammer the thoroughbreds all day, all night. Cash Friday starting a little earlier. So when we start, we're going to have Saratoga, Woodbine, Gulfstream, Monmouth. Gonna be fucking glorious. Delaware. And then at 5 p.m., fucking Del Mar starts up. So we got big races. It's Friday. The sun is shining. And I'm so happy to be back in action with you guys. Viper NB in the house, ready to get to work. There's Jedi for Life. Rural Video putting the Brewers today with Amanda Nunez parlay. There's my guy, New Corker, says, good morning, everyone. NFL and NCAA just around the corner. My bankroll under the weather. Betting MLB. We'll fix that. Art Hayes, well, I hope you're rolling with me in CFL because we're coming off another winning night last night. Ticats plus 9.5. It was a really funny day. I was planning on betting the Red Blacks all day. But then I had some things going on that I had to take care of. And I was like, watching the lines. When am I going to get in? And at one point, it was plus 11 for the Ticats, plus 3 for Red Blacks. I'm like, okay, I'm betting both. And I had to deal with a couple more things. And then I went back, and it was 9.5 and 2. And I was so angry. That I'd missed the line. I was like really upset. Like I had to shake it off because life got in the way of me getting the right line. So then in the end, I don't bet the Red Blacks. And the Red Blacks should have come. The Alouettes are a fade. They look so bad defensively. Machocha's a clown. And there was a crazy turnover that gave the Alouettes a 14-point lead. And they almost gave it back in the last 3 minutes because they're fucking terrible. But it was fortunate that, it was just kind of the gambling gods maybe helping me there. And then when I realized I had not lost or wasn't going, I actually bet it when they were down 14 with 3 minutes left. I was like, okay, well, let's go in on the Ticats and plus 9.5. So things kind of worked out for me there. Art Hayes ready to get to work. There's G Martinez, saturated. Trying to find the nerve to increase my unit size today. I don't know. That scares me to do that the first day back. But if you do count yesterday, but a lot of teams starting up today. There's our guy, Jay Peasy in the house, J Dub. And there is a puzzler. Says maybe try a little lube next time, saturated. Our guy, Puzzler, needs our love and thoughts and light and positive energy right now. He needs it. So for all of the low baggers in the chat, Puzzler's in the hospital right now. And, he's such a tough guy. He's so resilient. And I know he's going to battle this, but we're dealing with the cancer, the fucking cancer. And so if we can all just take a second and just give our guy Puzzler as much love and positivity and light as we possibly can. God, he's a great guy, and I care about him very much, and part of our family since day one. And if we could just all kind of just give him that. He's such a tough guy, such a resilient guy. I know he's going to beat this, but just a little bit of extra love never hurts, Never hurts. There is, oh, man, good home run derby and Austin. Ooh, nice. I love seeing that. Jedi says going to press it today. We got LJ from H-Town. Blue Jays first 5, over 4.5, and team total over 4.5. Well, I'm on the Jays. First 5 and 4 games. I made 4 bets so far. There's Clint Star, the Die Hard MMA podcast, and it doesn't really get so when I talk about the bets I make before kind of breaking down the games with you, these don't really count. I don't really count the ones that I make in the morning after I can study the market movement and where the cash is and all that stuff. I'm talking about the bets I make at night when the card comes out, or, early evening the day before when the card comes out. Those have not been successful. There's Sammy Calmer in the house. What a great capper. He's Danny Lopez, Rodney Barton, Stella Girl back in action. Man, she's a great capper. I'm excited. I'm excited and thankful. There's Nasty Nate in the house. I tweeted out yesterday, but we are a fam here, and we stick to each other through highs and lows, and we support each other. And we support each other when we're sick, and we support each other when we just support each other. And some of the support comes with a lot of excitement and positivity. Some of the support hurts, and it's tough and it makes you sad. But the fact is that we just support. And for a little happiness here, our guy Donkey Nate Dog in the house. His son they're running some fundraiser for his son's high school football team, and I donated yesterday, and I tweeted it out, and I'm just going to pop it here in the chat. His son's fundraiser. We have 14 days. We have 14 days, and we're trying to raise, I don't know, I think it's $1,500. And these guys were state champions last year, by the way. State champions. So we're a ton of they're going to equipment, uniforms, team events, team gear, also championship rings. So we're trying to raise a little funds. So there, I just popped it in the chat right there. If we could all, if you can, do. If you can't, totally understandable. Not a big thing. No pressure at all. No pressure at all. Sorry. Stella Girl, actually a male. Stella is his dog's name. Thank you for sharing that with me, Jose. That's important information. No disrespect to female cappers, but I have not met a female capper with 14 books. So when Stella Girl said he had 14 books, I was immediately impressed. But that makes sense. No disrespect to the female cappers. I'm sure there's female cappers out there that have 14 books. I just have never met one. And Creekman giving the love to our guy, Puzzler. And, it's important. It's important. There's Tommy Gunricci, Rocco Rogers, and there's Topset. So Topset is also in the hospital right now and got COVID while he's there. God damn. That sucks, Topset. God, we got to get you out of there, man. I hate hearing that. I hate knowing that, God, our friends that we love so dearly are sick. Let's get you guys better. Let's get you guys just focusing on the capping. Oh, Topset, man. So says he's got to get out of this makeshift hospital. Man. So Topset, we love you so much. It sucks, Topset, you being so far away. Like, I can go visit a Puzzler, but you being in Miami, I just Topset, we love you so much. Let's get you guys better. So we've sent the love and the light to Puzzler. It's now time to close our eyes, or whatever you do, however you do it, and send love to our guy, Elio. God, Elio. Old buck knife. Elio Rodriguez. Old buck knife. We love you so much, Elio. Get better. Get out of there. Get home for us, man. We need you. We need you guys, man. We need you guys bad. So, God. All right. And there's Rocco saying, my first shout out, Topset and Puzzler praying for all. Both y'all going to kill up. That's perfect. Okay. God. And these guys are so tough, and they're so brave, and they deal with adversity. They lead by example. And I love you guys, and I know you guys are Going to be back home, going to be better, going to be focusing on capping soon. So we start the show by sending you both as much love as we possibly can. All right. It is time to get to work. Babano will be joining us shortly. He no longer has the low voice that was just making women sopping wherever he went. But he still has one of the best voices in the industry, just not as low and impressive. And I see him right now. We talk about the sun shining today and the sun shining in and the love we're giving to our friends that are dealing with adversity. And I can see the sun shining into Babano's room right now. Let's all welcome to the show from Canada's black and yellow steel town, Hamilton, Ontario. I cashed with his tabbies last night. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Ian Cameron in the house. Ian, how are you, my man?
Yeah, well done, Jimmy, cashing with them. But I would have preferred the straight-up win. I would have preferred them winning against a team that was beatable, that didn't even play anywhere close to their A game last night, that being the BC Lions. Just another example of a game that there were many chances for the Ticats and many chances that they let get away. It's been the story of their season.
It has, but I think things are. I feel like I'm seeing things clearly right now. I can't wait to talk about these games, but I see the Alouettes as a fade. I got very fortunate that I didn't lose money on the Red Blacks yesterday. I knew you were on the Alouettes, and that made it easier for me. I don't know if this is for you guys at all, but
they are bet against. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I said last night was a spot for Montreal because I think Ottawa's just in a worse spot here on the short week, right. Winless team, finding ways to lose. And Montreal was like when they got that 40-26 lead and it looked like it was over, everything they did from that point on was like, hey, we don't want to win this game, Ottawa. Here, you guys take it. I mean, and they're very fortunate they hung on to it. That did not look like a confident finish to that game. That looked like a team that still got turnovers issues. They still have massive issues with penalties and lack of discipline. Can't blame Kari Jones now for that shit.
No, they're a fade as we move forward, and I think Hamilton's bet on. Personally, I think we're going to get really nice lines.
That line did get stupid losing. Once it got to 11. It got as high as 11 yesterday on the BC Lions. You would have said BC minus 11 on any field against Hamilton before the season started. You'd think, boy, you need your head examined, suggesting a point spread like that.
There must be a giant COVID outbreak like we have to deal with in the Roughriders game. So we'll talk about all that. But I feel like the CFL is a big moneymaker this year. The way I see these teams, there's just teams that are clearly overrated, and there's teams that, like the Red Blacks, Red Blacks are a bet on squad for me at 0-6. We're going to get great numbers. How did they not? Who was the receiver? I'm forgetting the receiver who dropped that perfect pass.
The guy that had a great game. He had a touchdown pass earlier in the game.
Yards,
he had over 100 yards of receiving, and it was Darvin Adams, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, and one of the easiest catches he'll have all night, and he flat out drops it.
But what I was saying before, Babano, which helped me, was I had to deal with some stuff yesterday, and I was at one point the Ticats were plus 11, Red Blacks were plus 3, and I was talking to Dennis. I was like, well, it's time to move. It's time to bet on both these. And I had to deal with a couple more things. And finally, it was like 6:05. And I was like, okay, let's get in my action. And it moved to 9.5 and 2. And I was so angry. And then I ended up not betting the Red Blacks. And one of the things that kind of helped was knowing that you were on the Alouettes and I could kind of sit back. So when they were on the, and what terrible refereeing too. They just seemed so confused, don't you think, down the stretch? They weren't capable of making quick decisions. Every decision was taking 2 minutes, and it was just messing with momentum, messing with the fans.
That's what you get with the Andre Proulx crew. On Andre Proulx, it's like he's trying to write a novel, trying to explain a call or something. I mean, it's just, and people, what did you just say there? I know he's got a French accent, but still, it's not very clear whenever he says it.
But when that was all going down, I was like, okay, well, let's just sit back and cheer for Babano, get Babano's ticket in. And then it worked out well because the only thing I moved on was the Ticats. And I didn't bet the Ticats until the Alouettes got that last touchdown and took the 14-point lead. And I was like, oh, it looks like I saved money. Well, let's fire on the 9.5 now. So it kind of worked out for me yesterday. But let's get right to work, Babano. Let's get into the CFL. So I'm now 17-9 65.4% plus 7.1 units ROI plus 27.31% average line minus 112. And feeling confident. Let's get to work, Babano. We start tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern.
I got to do it, actually, before we start, Jimmy. I mean,
Sure.
everyone's talking about the Andre Proulx accent. I got to do it. 4 yards were gained. Olding, Hamilton, number 66. That's a 5-yard penalty. We're going to move it up, turn down. We'll review the play after distance to the goal. There you go. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. That was beautiful. Nice work, Babano. Bringing levity to the show, which is what we needed.
It is an Ed. I love when he does the coin toss. It is an Ed when it's heads. Yeah.
We have the 2-time defending Grey Cup champions, 6-0 now on the season. The last 2 weeks, they defeated previously unbeaten BC Lions and Calgary Stampeders and looked very good doing it. And Zach Collaros looked very good. 603 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Babano, I look at this game and I think it's Elks or no bet. Everywhere I look, it's Bombers, bet the Bombers. Got to bet the Bombers. The Elks haven't won in Commonwealth since 2019. What I saw was the Bombers getting up for undefeated teams. And now they have to travel to Commonwealth and play the lowly Elks. Now, I haven't bet this, and maybe I get talked off this. But the first thing I thought was the Elks early. Now, they're only 2-point dogs in the first quarter, and that's kind of no man's land. 4.5 points in the first half, 7.5 for the game. I thought that was an impressive 32-31 win at Montreal. Look, I know there's only 16,000 fans there in Montreal, and the team is not good. But still, the Elks travel over to Montreal. Taylor Cornelius makes plays. Everybody's saying, oh, there was defensive pass interference penalties that kept that drive alive. He was scrambling. He was making plays, and he gained confidence. And that's what Taylor Cornelius needs is confidence. And that's what he got. Still 19 for 31, 230 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So the Elks haven't won at home since 2019. In their last 15 games against the spread at home, they're 3-12. They have no James Wilder. They have no Darrell Walker and Kai Loxley. Their 3rd and 4th receivers. Their defense is bad. But to me, how does Winnipeg get up for this game? I want to back the Elks. I want nothing to do with the Bombers in this spot. And every single outlet I see is on the Bombers. Take it away here, Babano. Bombers, Elks.
I'm with you. I believe it or not, I am here on this one. And I don't like it's not an uber confidence here on the Edmonton side. And they've got issues putting 2 good games in a row together. That's another thing that bothers me potentially about this game for them tonight. Because we saw them come back, beat Hamilton, thrilling comeback, and they laid the absolute egg, shit the bed completely the very next week against Calgary in the Battle of Alberta. And they got absolutely just blitzed in that game. 49-6 it ended up. And then they bounced back. They came back against Montreal the next week. And this is kind of like that spot here where it was kind of like coming off the big comeback against Hamilton now. Here they are coming up to come back against Montreal. Are they going to fall flat again at home, just like they did against Calgary? I worry about that, but I think I worry more about the spot for Winnipeg. I honestly do. I mean, they're off just 2 huge mammoth games. First place showdown with BC, which they won. And then you're roaring right back around to play another first place battle the very next week against Calgary because they were tied with an undefeated record. And they ended up winning that game. And they found a way to win. I mean, it was a back and forth game. And they found a way, and they did it all through the air. I mean, they didn't run the football at all. They couldn't run the football at all against Calgary. Everything they did offensively in the win against the Stampeders was Zach Collaros through the air. And 2 huge wins for Winnipeg. They're 6-0. I think they realize just how enormous those 2 games. I worry that this is flat spot written all over it, waiting to happen for Winnipeg here in this game. It really does concern me. And I was impressed with Cornelius. Is he perfect? No. Does he still throw the ball into dangerous positions where it can be intercepted? Yes. I think his decision-making's got to still improve. But what I saw from him last week against that Alouettes team, Jimmy, was an ability to avoid sacks, get out of the pocket. He was Houdini a couple of plays. One of the plays that led to one of the key touchdowns in that game was him escaping multiple sack attempts, getting out of the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, finding a receiver. You got to give him absolute credit for that. Now, they do have injuries galore, Edmonton. But I'm going to get into Winnipeg's injuries in just a second. Their injury report's not good either going into this game. But for Edmonton, I don't worry too much about Darrell Walker being out. I think he's kind of washed up, to be quite honest with you. He's not the Darrell Walker of a few years ago. Kyle Loxley being out actually, I think, is more valuable to Edmonton because he's been a very nice find. Converting him from quarterback in college to receiver now. He's played well. Losing him's going to be unfortunate, but still have Kenny Lawler. You've still got a couple other options there that can help out Cornelius. That's a good thing. They are banged up at like crazy on defense, Jimmy. They've got cluster injuries at linebacker. They've got a couple key defensive linemen out. They will get, though, Deron Carter on the field for the first time this season. And, of course, Chris Jones is trying to work the magic he did in Saskatchewan when he converted Nick Marshall from a quarterback to a defensive back. And look at how well that worked. Nick Marshall's one of the best, probably, cornerbacks in the CFL for Saskatchewan. He's trying to work that magic now with Deron Carter. Convert him to a defensive back. See how he fares here. He's got great athleticism. We know that. Great instincts. So let's see how he handles it. But how about the Winnipeg injuries? I mean, they're still banged up in the secondary. No Greg Ellingson tonight. And we know how much of a huge season he's had so far and the chemistry him and Collaros have had. And Patrick Neufeld on the right side of that offensive line is out, for the Bombers tonight. So they've got some injuries. This is a lot of points to be laying when you've got a banged up Winnipeg team. And Edmonton's got injuries too, but so does Winnipeg. And you got a team that you worry about focus a little bit, coming off 2 enormous wins against BC and Calgary, back-to-back weeks for Winnipeg. The thing that scares me is Edmonton's inability to put 2 good games in a row together. Another thing that scares me is this home field is useless to Edmonton. When's the last time they've won a home game? And they're only 3-12 ATS in their last 15 home games. They've been burning money for their backers at home. But damn it, I'm going to take a shot with the Edmonton Elks tonight. And I'm going to take the plus 7.5, Jimmy. I know you mentioned the first half, but we've seen some ugly first halves from Edmonton lately, and we've seen some really good second halves from Edmonton. The comeback against Hamilton, the comeback against Montreal. So I'm just going to go to the full game, plus 7.5 here, because I'm not in the business, so to speak, of guessing when Edmonton's going to play their best portion of the football game tonight. Is it going to be the first quarter? Is it going to be the first half? Is it going to be the second half? What we do know, though, is their best part of the football game the last few weeks, Jimmy's been the second half. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the full game here, Edmonton plus 7.5. I'm locking that in as official, as well as the over. Edmonton is a dead nuts over team. I know Winnipeg's got a great defense, but Winnipeg yardage-wise is giving up yards. And the points that they've allowed have looked impressive, but they've given up a lot of yards, and forcing turnovers has been a big part of that Winnipeg defense. And on the flip side, I think the thing that will help the over is, look, Cornelius still could be an interception waiting to happen. And we saw it last week. He threw a pick 6 against Montreal. So that's going to be good for the over if you get interceptions that lead to points and defensive scores. So Edmonton plus the points, and I'm going to go over the total. And Edmonton's been just a over machine this year. Every game flying over the total. Chris Jones' defense is about as difficult as it is to learn and grasp, and we're seeing that year in and year out. Chris Jones goes to a new team. This team takes time to grasp that defense, and we're seeing that with Edmonton. It's just not very good. They've got the worst run defense. If you're into props, I'd target Brady Oliveira for the Bombers. Over rushing yards. I've cashed over rushing yards props pretty much on every back that's faced Edmonton this year, so I'd probably go with that as well.
Well, those of you who agree with us or think you want to join us, wait. It's 8.5 now at Pinnacle. So we got Bovano and 8.5 at minus 113. We'll use the 48 at minus 110 at Bet365. It's gone to 48.5 at Pinnacle. I'll see what they're selling their 48 for quickly. Oh no, they're not. They don't give me alternate there. So wait. If Pinnacle's at 8.5, just go up.
Really just go up? Wow.
Yeah. If Pinnacle's going to be at 8.5, the other books will follow. So stay calm.
So for the purposes of the show, I'll get a better number now. That's good.
Yes. 8.5 minus 113, and the over 48 is what we'll deal with. And I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. I would prefer not to double up here. If I do tweet out as official picks, first half and full game, just for you guys to know, I won't bet that at 150 a pop. I'll drop that either 125 or 100. I don't want to sit there with $300 on the Elks tonight. So there we go. There's Bombers Elks game 1. Rocco Rogers looking for Padres strikeout numbers for batters, looking at Scherzer over. We're going to talk about that very, very soon. But if anybody has that information, please let
That was
Rocco
a lengthy analysis, by the way, Jimmy, for me. But there's so much shit going on with these two teams. I had to explain it all, the injuries, the spot.
I love it. I love it. Man, I love it. I love it. Let's move on to the game that has been switched. And I'm not sure if we'll dive in here because there's a lot of information that we don't know in this one. They've switched the game Saturday, July 23rd to Sunday, July 24th. That's the Toronto Argonauts. It's Saskatchewan Roughriders. And we're at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. And this game's just clouded with all these COVID tests for the Roughriders. So they just played last week in a neutral site. And both Babano and I talked about betting the Argos. I did not move on it. And then when I was watching the game, I was like, God, I was just beating myself up. But when you look back at it, it was the pick six at the end of the game that, gave the result to the Argos. So I didn't hate it too much that I wasn't on the Argos. And also Andrew Harris is starting to do nothing and the Argos aren't moving the ball on the ground. So it wasn't the way I expected them to win the game. But Bethel Thompson looked good. 267 yards, 2 touchdown passes. And the big story here is Cody Fajardo with the illness. His backup, Mason Fine. So both of these guys have COVID. We need to know there's 11 players dealing with COVID right now. Nick Marshall, who you spoke of. Darnell Sankey as well, linebacker. We need that information before we can move forward. The game did move dates, much to the chagrin of the Cappers who got in on the Argos at plus 6.5. I legitimately thought this would come out at 3.5 or 4. So when I saw 6.5, I was like, holy shit. It's now down to, I believe, 2. Let me just move over there here very quickly with the line history. Take 1 second. Here we go. We have it at 1 now. It's all the way down to 1. And this makes me want to move on Saskatchewan. We see teams come together in these types of situations, but I can't do it without Fajardo under center. So if I know that Fajardo's under center and they're at Mosaic Stadium where they're bet on, I'll happily take them with just as 1-point favorites. But talk to us about this spot, Babano, before we get into the big MLB card, Argonauts, Roughriders. Oh, you're on mute, my man.
Oh, there we go. For me, this is obviously when I heard the COVID outbreak for Saskatchewan, they canceled the first 2 practices. They did finally get back on the practice field yesterday, which means now there is a glimmer of hope that the game that's been rescheduled to Sunday may still be played. But again, we're going to have to wait and see how they get through today, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it is it's a rough go of it right now for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 10 players dealing with testing positive this week. So unfortunately not very good. Cody Fajardo, not only the ailing knee, it's funny, Craig Dickinson was thinking of resting Cody Fajardo this week anyway because he's got a banged up knee. Well, now I think he's one of the people that's fallen ill with COVID. So he's definitely out as a result. And it's funny, he was supposed to be, or Mason Fine, the North Texas product, was supposed to get the start in place of Fajardo, and he's dealing with the virus as well and COVID-19. So he's out. So as a result now, Jake Dolagala is going to be the starting quarterback on Sunday. 3rd string.
Is that confirmed that Fajardo's
confirmed? Jake Dolagala, who I know for a fact has not taken a snap in a regular season CFL game. So that's what you've got for Saskatchewan now here in this game. And this just been just a deluge of money all week on Toronto. This opened as high as 6.5. It's down to 1 now in a lot of spots. And I don't know if I want to buy. I'm in a great spot because I actually got it at plus 5.5. I didn't get the best of the number, but I got plus 5.5.
They didn't cancel it with the date switch? Because
they didn't for the book I posted it at. Some books do, some books don't. So it really is book to book dependent on whether that happens or not. So it's very important to keep that in mind. But when you look at it here, plus 1, minus 1 with Saskatchewan now. I'm telling you what, that is incredible value for them on their home field. But who's going to be on the field? You're talking about a 3rd string quarterback that's never taken a snap in a meaningful game in the CFL. You're talking about Jake Hardy at receiver, likely out. David Kenny on the defensive line out. AC Leonard on the defensive line out. Nick Marshall, I just talked about how good he is. He's not going to play. He's tested positive in that secondary. Kyron Moore is banged up. Mitch Picton may not play. Pete Robertson, the defensive lineman, is still unavailable to play with that foot injury he suffered in that Ottawa game. Darnell Sankey, the linebacker, is tested positive. They got him from Calgary. He's expected to be an integral piece of this defense. He's not going to play. I mean, this is just a lot of artillery that's missing for Saskatchewan if this game gets played. Too much for me to think that they've got enough to cobble together to beat this Toronto team. Now, I know it's revenge. Look, if Saskatchewan's close to fully healthy in this game and they don't have none of these issues going on, Cody plays, they didn't have this COVID outbreak, I was lining up to take Saskatchewan in this spot after the Nova Scotia loss last week because I knew they did this against Montreal where they lost to Montreal. They came back home. They won and covered, and they won going away. And I was lined up to take Saskatchewan here. But then all of a sudden the COVID outbreak happened. And then you find out Cody Fajardo's not playing and his backups tested positive. And now they're down to a third-string quarterback who hasn't taken a snap in his life in the CFL. So all of a sudden that changed me to Toronto at the good number. The question for me is, for the purposes of this show, we have to talk about what's out there, and that's -1 +1. What do you do now? I think it would be for me a very difficult decision to take Saskatchewan with everybody that's out, even with the great number, even with the incredible line value, 1-point home favorites. I just don't trust whatever lineup's going to be out there. I mean, it's just you're missing guys all over the place on defense. Your best cornerback, multiple linebackers, 2 key defensive linemen. You're down to your third-string quarterback. That's a lot to be missing, and I think it's too much for them to be missing. So at this number, it'd probably still be I'd have to go Toronto or nothing. Obviously, for the purposes of this show, I'm not making anything official, but I think there's just too much key personnel out for Saskatchewan to overcome it.
Yeah, I need to see what happens over the next 24 or 48 hours here. So I'm going to be just seeing who becomes available.
There is a chance some of the positive testing players could test negative. You're right. Today, tomorrow, and maybe they're cleared for Sunday. So that is important to keep an eye on that.
A couple things here before we get into MLB. It is Ronnie and Bergie's birthday today, and he's looking for a birthday pick. So Babano and I will look over and figure out the best spot on the board for you. And Leonard Porsche Jr. turns 36 tomorrow. Says, all I want is a CFL birthday pick. And that would have to be the Elks. But I would wait. Leonard,
yep.
Wait. It's just moved to 8.5 at Pinnacle. The other books will follow suit. So just try to be as patient as possible. All right. Big Show picks. So question in the NFL last year, the total average score league-wide was 27.5 points per game. What do you think the total average is for CFL? Well, we made drastic rule changes in this offseason to create more offense, and that's what we've done. I mean, it's just a huge difference between this year's points and last year's points. Every game went under last year. I don't know what the average points would be, but I know it's way higher than last year.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah, there is no question about. I'm looking at it right now, Jimmy. You got BC averaging 35.2 points per game. You've got Calgary averaging 32.2 points per game. Nobody's averaging. 2 teams are averaging less than 20 points per game. Hamilton and Toronto. That's it. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at 27 points per game or more. BC, Calgary, Montreal, Saskatchewan. So that tells you this is 26 points per game for Winnipeg. So you're definitely seeing a huge uptick in scoring, and it's played out that way in terms of over-under results. Going into tonight, the over is 11-2 in the last 13 CFL games.
Unbelievable. Such a difference.
Of course, one of the overs I had last night obviously stays under. It has to be that way, Hamilton and BC.
Yeah. Well, let's get to work and switch sports. Let's move on to MLB. Second half of the season begins, and we start at 6:40.
Naturally, I'm with you, Jimmy, for one of the trickiest days of the entire season on the MLB board, coming out of the All-Star break for all these teams.
Yeah, it's a tricky day, but there's some spots that I like and some spots that I moved on. Right here, I moved on a spot. I am on Graham Ashcraft and the Cincinnati Reds first 5 today at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's get to work. 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Cardinals versus Reds. We will start here with the weather. And let me do a refresh because this was from about 4 hours ago. So let me just do a refresh. See if we get any changes. And not really. It's hot. 93 Fahrenheit at first pitch. Feels like 99. 6.3 miles per hour out to left center. Dies down to 3.9 by the end of the game, but it's humid. We've seen what happens to Ashcraft when the wind is blowing out heavy. And now we don't have a ton of sample size. He's a rookie, but that game in Wrigley Field is hard to forget. But he's been very good at home this year. And for some of these bottom-feeding teams, even though the Reds did get some momentum after that series versus the Yankees, I think the break is good for them. All the teams that were doing worse than we expected to, I always think the All-Star break helps. And then the teams that are incredibly good running so hot, it hurts. And we saw that with the Yankees yesterday. Wainwright, 6-7, 3.00 ERA, 1.23 whip, 111 innings, 89 Ks, 31 walks, and 11 home runs. Last start, 5 1/3, 4 hits, no one runs, 5 Ks, 4 walks, and a 7-6 loss at home versus the Dodgers. Much better at home than he is on the road. 3-4, 4.10 ERA, 279 opponents batting average on the road. Let's go to line history here. Quickly move over to, here we go. And the cash flow. Look at both here and see if we got any update. We do now have, okay, so there's now line. Wow. So this has changed. Full line value on the Cincinnati Reds. Full line value on the Cincinnati Reds, according to Sports Insights. And that was not there when I moved on it, but there was, I think, half line value when I moved on it. There has been a 15-cent move to the Cardinals. They've gone from -140 to -155. The total opened up at 10, slightly juiced to the under. It's now 10 at a pick'em. We have 7,300 tickets in. Nice sample size. 86% of the tickets are on the Cardinals, of course, public spot. Only 60% of the cash. So you turn that around. 14% of tickets are on the Reds, but 40% of cash is on the Reds. 52% of tickets on the under, 55% of cash on the under. Ashcraft coming off a nice start at the Yankees. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 Ks, 3 walks. He's a 4.45 ERA, 1.35 whip, but at home he's a 2.67 ERA. Opponents hitting 248 off of him. Cards are hitting just 247, 711 OPS versus righties. Reds are worse, but their hitting against righties has improved. 236, 675 OPS. And the Reds bullpen's trash. It looked a little better. Against, the Yankees, but still 5.42 ERA, 1.48 whip. Lucas Ryan says, my Cardinals explode today. I'm with the Sharps on this one. And I moved on the Reds first 5. I think I got plus 125. I'll double check that in a second, but I believe I got a plus 125. Let's hand it over to Babano and see what he thinks of this spot. Cardinals, Reds, take it away.
Well, I tried to take a shot with some of these Reds young starters that I think have some potential against St. Louis last week when they met at Busch Stadium, and I got my head caved in trying to do it. So good luck to you, Jimmy. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I tried Lodolo. He got crushed. I tried Hunter Green. He got crushed by this St. Louis team. And I don't have much more confidence, to be honest, in Ashcraft. Now, I know he has some better numbers at home, but for some reason, their pitching's just been mashed by this St. Louis team. And I actually like the over in this game. I don't know if I'll make that official. I'll circle back before the end of the show and confirm that when we recap stuff. But I am leaning over the total in this game. We know Wainwright's never quite as sharp on the road. It's been a long time that's been that way for him. I think the Reds offense can do some damage. I just think the Cardinals can do some damage against Ashcraft like they did earlier. They just faced him in June, 4 runs, 9 hits. It was ugly for Ashcraft against St. Louis. I've seen no reason why they can't hit him once again here. And you mentioned the Reds bullpen going into the All-Star break was dreadful. So they probably can score off them as well. So my lean here is over 10. It's high total, but it's high for a reason.
I get it. And Joe Yurkovich saying the same thing, says it's like a Coors Field game with this weather. I see a lot of variance in this one. I can only look over. Look, a lot of people are going to be on the Cards. We knew that was going to be the case. We know this is a public spot that the Cards are on. Big bets have come in on the Reds. And look, I shouldn't say love. I like the first 5. I saw how much sharp money was on the Reds, and I don't think I'll get a better line. Usually Maybe if we wait until just before first pitch, but we're hammering horses.
I like the theory because this is the same damn theory I tried last week with the Reds against St. Louis. I said, I like the price I'm getting with Green here in this plus 150 range. I like the price I'm getting with Nick Lodolo here in this price range. And they both got their brains beat in. They both got crushed in those two starts. But I like the theory. And Ashcraft's got some potential as well. But, man, it just seems like St. Louis just hits these guys. And, of course, we know the bullpen's lousy, which explains why you're liking the first five, of course.
And, look, the Cards got to Ashcraft. I believe it was the second start of the year. It was in St. Louis. Yep. I have no problem. That does not concern me at all. So there's game one. I'm on the Reds, first five plus 125. I believe it's – I got to double-check that I got plus 125. But let's go quickly answer a question from our guy, Stella Girl. He says, question for the guys. With the break, do we throw all recent performance out the window and start capping like it's day one of the season again? We probably all have different ideas on this. But I'll give you mine, and then we'll hand it over to Babano. My answer is no. But soon I'm only going to be focusing on post-All-Star break stats. As soon as we have enough of a sample size, I'm going to let go of the first half and focus on the second half. Now, last year I went month to month to month to month, and there's pros and cons to doing that. And maybe we'll see if this simplifying things a little bit works this year. But so no, I think this is not like first day one of the season. But I do think that teams who had a bad first half can come back a little bit refreshed, and the teams that were rolling didn't probably want the break. Let's hear what Babano has to say before we get into the second game on the card. So Babano, with the break, do we throw all recent performance out the window or start capping like it's day one of the season again?
For some teams, it's funny. I think for some teams, you cap it like it's the first day of the season, and there could be struggles, there could be growing pains. And then for some teams, I don't think that. Like, for instance, for Seattle, we'll get to them later. I know there's that concern with the All-Star break, just ripping apart this momentum and this rhythm and this great role they've got going on. But I'm not going to buy into that with them today, and we'll get to them later. I think they're a team that can still continue to play well once the All-Star break, and now that the All-Star break's going. But to me, you've still got to look at recent form with pitching in particular and bullpen. I mean, it's not like this is an All-Star break that's lasted a month or 3-4 weeks. It's been, 5 days. So, if a pitcher is struggling going into the All-Star break, and we know they've been bad form and you've been betting against them going into the break, I'm not ready just necessarily to just turn my opinion and say, okay, the All-Star breaks happen. They've been able to hit the reset button. Now I'm going to try to bet on them. No, you've still got to look at the struggles going in. Conversely, a team or a pitcher playing well going into the All-Star break, you're not going to just automatically assume, well, okay, you know what? The All-Star break's here. Now they're all of a sudden, or past the All-Star break, now all of a sudden things are going to go in the other direction. Unless you see it for yourself. And that's what makes, in my opinion, Jimmy, the first game very difficult, because we're just using conjecture. We don't know if the pitchers that were struggling going into the break are going to struggle in this first start for sure. We have an opinion whether they will or whether they'll go in the other way, but we don't know for sure. For Seattle as a team, the hottest team in baseball going into the All-Star break, we have an idea if the All-Star break is going to cool them off or not, but we're not going to know until we see a game or two. So that's why these first couple games out of the break, it's more your own opinion and your own handicapping style that plays a part into which way you go.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was nice. A nice breakdown there. All right, we are off and rolling. And what better way to get us into the next game on the docket, Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia Phillies, then our man, Ron Crawford, giving us his spreadsheet play of the day on the Philadelphia Phillies. This one was a wildly interesting breakdown for me last night and then this morning, and looking at where the market is. We have Sports Insights giving the Chicago Cubs about 25% line value here, and the bigger bets have come in on the Cubs. 14% of the tickets, 25% of the cash. That was interesting. Another thing that I found interesting was the money coming in on the under. So I had our guy Hunter Engelhart, who very interested in wanting to bet this under. He messaged me early this morning, wanting to know the situation with the tickets. This morning, it was 42% of tickets on the under and 97% of cash on the under. That was a smaller sample size. Now we have 7,767 tickets in. Now it's 45% of tickets and 79% of cash on the under. It was fascinating whenever I do Jose's show, because these spots, and I think this would be a good example, the public comes in and starts hammering the favorite. I love that we have the early show, so we look at all of the tickets that have come in from, the people getting at the lines, attacking the lines the earliest, which are generally the sharpest and the ones using models in that case. But if they're saying that all these big bets are coming in on the under, that's telling me that Justin Steele is going to have a nice start. Dami Gunricci's on the first 5 under 4.5 at -115. Let's go over to the line history in this one, because I remember what Gibson did in his last 2 starts, or I guess it's 2 of the last 3 starts. He was very good, but there's been a 5-cent move to the Chicago Cubs, and 86% of the tickets are on the Phillies, and that was enough to scare me off. I was talking to some friends about what we do every day, and I was saying, when you'll know I'm a better capper when I'm like, look, I'm switching, I'm flipping, I'm going to bet the Cubs. We had TJ tracking it last year when I would get off a play because of the ticket count and the cash on one side, or the market moving with reverse line movement, and I was hitting 67% on those times where I could have just flipped. I'm not going to flip here, I don't think. Cubs 35 and 57, 17 and 25 on the road. Phillies 49 and 43, 24 and 21 at home. We're at Citizens Bank Park. We'll start with the weather in Philly. We have 92, feels like 94, 10 miles per hour out to right field, dies down to 8.2, but very offensive weather out to right field. Last start for Justin Steele was nice. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, 1 walk. It was a quality start, but those quality starts happen at home. And on the road, he's been so bad. 0-2, 5.86 ERA, 265 opponent's batting average. I don't want Justin Steele on the road. Why do the models like Justin Steele in this spot? I can't answer that. THC is risen, says Philly not hitting lefties. Steele's been solid, and I don't trust Gibson to put together 3 quality starts in a row. There you go. Stella Girl says biggest ballpark weather bump on the slate here at Philly. Joe Yurkovich giving us that information. Ballpark Pal, 32% plus 32% chance for home run and 13% for more runs scored. Wild. And then the total has moved 10 cents to the under. I mean, this is just fascinating. Gibson's last start, 2-1 win at Miami, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 5 Ks, 1 walk, and a 2-1 win. At home, 4-1, 4.01 ERA, 240 opponents better, slightly better than he's been on the road. Cubs versus righties, 246, 705 OPS. Phillies versus lefties, 251, 760 OPS. Nice numbers. But I guess of late, and since Harper went down, not as dangerous. Not that Harper smashes lefties. Cubs bullpen 4.30 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, converted 19 of 36. Phillies bullpen 3.67 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 23 of 33. Have quietly been very good of late. Take it away here, Babano. Cubs, Phillies.
They have. I'm passing on this game, but I could only look to Philadelphia. I mean, I'm not trusting Justin Steele on the road. You mentioned the road numbers aren't great. The thing that's keeping me off it is, you're right, the Phillies against lefties have been downright awful, to be honest. 195 batting average in the last 10 and a 3.18 runs per 9 innings average during that span. So that's not necessarily something that I look at as bet on, especially when you're considering here the price is better, -130, and I certainly lean to the Phillies here. But Steele is a lefty. They've struggled against lefties a little bit. Gibson has been great, so maybe you could look at a first 5 under, though I would lean for Phillies in first 5 under, but I'm going to probably end up staying away from this. Dom Ricci in our chat with a great point. He's talking about the pitch count for McClanahan, or the innings count, I should say, being 104 for him. He's already 20 away from his, the career high. That isn't a good thing to look at in the second half of the baseball season with all of these pitchers. If they're going way over, or if they're approaching and then going over, and in some cases way over their previous high in innings pitched in a season, arm fatigue, dead arm, becomes a real legit potential for some of these guys, and that's when you want to start to maybe look to fade them and go the other way. It's very, very good to keep an eye on that. So, well, a great point brought up by Dom there.
Yeah, excellent point. God, the guys who've been in this game and succeeded over a long period of time, and we must listen to everybody, I believe. We can learn something from everybody, but when Domi speaks, we listen. Saturated says, Jose and Pete talked me off the Yankees yesterday, led me to hitting a 6-way for 30 times profit. There's something to that theory, being open-minded enough to flip your place. I can't do it, and I know when I start doing it, I will have improved as a capper. I know that that's what's keeping me from capping the way I want to. Red Girl, there was only a play from me, and I'm with the Sharps here on the Reds, but I only took them first 5. 14% of the tickets, 40% of the cash on the Reds. I'm taking Ashcraft at home, and the chat was mainly on the Cardinals. I didn't see one person joining me on the Reds. So there's that situation. All right, let's keep rolling. We move on to 7:05 p.m. Eastern. God, Babano, this is so much fun. I enjoy this enormously. I love capping with you. I love capping with the chat.
When you said that, it seems like everybody's on St. Louis. It seems like you had that look in your face like, screw all of you. Yeah.
I just, I like the spot. And I'm not going to get scared off because
as you should. Trust your process.
Marlins 43-49, 21-26 on the road. At the Pittsburgh Pirates 39-54, 20-23 at home. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We will start with the weather over in Black and Yellow Nation. 87 Fahrenheit, feels like 94. It's humid. 8 miles per hour out to left center, dies down to 5.3 by the end of the game, but it is hot in Pittsburgh. Take a look at the line history in this one. We have the 10-cent move to the Marlins and Braxton Garrett. 10-cent move to the Marlins and Braxton Garrett. We go over to the total. It opened up at 8.5, juice to the under, and that's where it is right now. And Jedi for Life says Pittsburgh has Thompson. Interesting. It didn't make sense that Quintana was listed and they weren't, that there was no line. To me, it meant that Quintana must not be pitching. And you're right. Zach Thompson is the pitcher, and I will have to pull up stats for him because I did have Quintana listed on RotoWire, and I went with that. But let's talk about Braxton Garrett. He just faced these Pirates at home and shut them down and showed why he's such a highly thought of prospect. 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 11 Ks, 2 walks, 3-2 win. Now he has a 3.70 ERA, 1.23 whip, starting to put together some real nice numbers. 41 and a third, 40 Ks, 10 walks, and 4 home runs allowed, just 4 and 41 and a third. Joe Yurkovich says Pittsburgh striking out like crazy lately. K-prop incoming. K-prop incoming. So on the road, he's been similar to his home numbers. It's a small sample size, but he's not looked bad there. Overtime says Marlins have a total of 0 runs in the last 27 innings. If anything, the under. Billy Friedrich says maybe they're dealing Quintana. You're absolutely right, Billy. I never thought of course. That's a very interesting. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what they're doing. And you'd think this would be a nice opportunity to showcase Quintana, though. Marlins are hitting 214, 602 OPS versus lefties. We'll talk about Thompson's numbers here in a second. Johnny Gunn says Marlins haven't scored a run since Friday or Thursday. Their offense is dead right now. Fade Miami, take the under. I hear that, but I really think in my history that these teams that are really scuffling really like having that little break. But they certainly were scuffling. The Marlins bullpen had been a little better. 4.07 ERA, 1.33 whip, converted 23 of 29. Pirates bullpen, 4.73 ERA, 1.42 whip, converted 23 of 41. And when we get to the cash flow here, we have just 630 tickets in. So all but of this very small sample size, it's all Pittsburgh cash. And backing Braxton Garrett here makes me nervous. I'd love to hear what you have to say, Babano. But Braxton Garrett coming off a spectacular performance against this squad just a few days ago at home, now on the road. Take it away, Marlins Pirates.
Yeah, you're right. It was a good outing. for him. We can't take that away from him. But I'm telling you what, I mean, this team just at the plate right now is Miami. That is just absolutely putrid. One run in the last 3 games combined. They get shut out by John Gray and the Texas Rangers in that makeup game yesterday. So it's just a dreadful offensive baseball team right now. And even if Garrett pitches well, what are you going to get? From this group offensively, you're not getting anything right now from them. I mean, they've been absolutely dead silent with the bats. I'm definitely leaning to Thompson and the Pirates here in this spot. I don't know again if we'll get involved in it yet for sure. But Thompson, he's been a bit of all around mixed bag for him so far this year. But again, with some of these Pirates pitchers, sometimes I'm able to, trust you a little bit more at home. I mean, his home ERA is 3.72. That's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. His last 3 starts overall, a 2.81 ERA with 5 runs allowed in his last 16 innings. Has had some issues with command, 7 walks in those 16 innings, but he's minimized the damage, 5 runs allowed during that time. So, I think the home underdog is the way I'd go here with Pittsburgh. And, let's make this official. Let's do it. Let's get involved. Make this official. I'm sure it'll make my card. There's no reason to wait around. I'm going to do the first 5 full game split here with the Pirates here. First 5 being at, looks like first 5 is plus 110. Currently best number at Bet Online, and the full game plus 115. There we go.
Plus 110 and plus 115. Let's lock Babano in. He's on the board. Saturated. That's a good question. Here's a good question. Is Babano raising it? So Babano is on the Pirates first 5 and full game. That was plus 105 and plus 115, Babano.
Plus 110, plus 115, plus 110 for the first 5. Yep.
Thank you. Plus 110 and plus 115 is Babano raising it. Moneyline Mills says, I don't like the Pirates, but it's them or nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let's talk about Zach Thompson, actually, just before I don't move on it. Let's bring up his numbers here. I'd like to see a little closer. He is somebody you trust enough. 3-6, 4.09 ERA, 1.39 WHIP, 49 Ks and 30 walks. Not a nice K walk ratio. 13 home runs allowed and 70 in the third. Look, I get it. The fish aren't hitting. Last start he had was very good. It was against the Fish, and was it against Braxton? I believe. Yes, it was. It was against Braxton Garrett. So these guys just faced off against each other.
Yep.
Thompson looked good. 1 earned run in 6 2/3. I mean, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in his last. How many starts is this? How many in his last 7 starts? He's allowed more. Wow. I get it. Let's just take a quick look at his splits here. At home, better than he is on the road at home. 2-4, 3.72 ERA, 246 opponent's batting average. Maybe I should jump in with you guys. Coin says under 8 and minus 105 is my lean. And we had such a small sample size. I don't even think they got to the total. 67% of tickets are on the under. We haven't seen the cash yet. Okay, I'll look at this further and maybe tail here. I get it.
I'd lean to that under in that game too. First 5 full game under. Like I say, I don't bet unders. I'm terrible with them, but I certainly lean that way in this game with these 2 offenses.
I would love to start tracking the spots where you would have taken it under. I imagine that, that's something that you would want to add to your artillery, as we move forward in the industry. I just, I would like to start tracking that. I may start doing that in the second half of the year with you. If I was to do that, this would be
one of the ones that would count. Yep.
Sorry.
It just seems like 10 years of doing this in every sport, when I've loved an under, and it's found a way to get over. Now, some of them have been brutal beats, but some way, somehow, we end up ripping up the ticket at the end of the night, and it's been the most frustrating thing.
But I think that the edge,
not
wanting to bet one and only betting when you really like one, would help your ROI. I think it's a profitable edge that you have, the anger towards not wanting to bet them, but saying, well, I've got to make a bet here. But we'll see. I might start tracking them for you. Just okay, but let's keep rolling. Next up, AL East, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. New York Yankees 64-30, 27-18 on the road at the Baltimore Orioles 46-46, 25-17 at home. We're at Camden Yards. Beautiful Camden Yards in Charm City. Let's start with the weather in Baltimore. Here we go. 92 feels like 97. I love this summer weather. 8.2 miles per hour out to right center. Dies down to 6.5. We've had a lot of offensive weather today. A lot of it. Then we have, here we go, Tyler Wells. Let's move to the line history here. Oh, I already had it up. Sorry. So there's been a 10-cent move to the Baltimore Orioles. They've gone from plus 145 to plus 135, and that makes sense considering what the Yankees had to deal with yesterday in the double dip against the Astros. It opened at a pick'em at 9. There's been a 15-cent move to the under. We go over to the cash flow here. We have the second team on today's card with full line value. That's the Baltimore Orioles and Tyler Wells. 9,078 tickets in, 20% of the tickets, but 47% of the cash on the Baltimore Orioles. Then you have 44% of tickets and 61% of cash on the under. Tyon 10-2, 3.86 ERA, 1.13 whip, 103rd, 82 Ks, 12 walks, 14 home runs allowed. His last start was a nice one, 14-1 win at home versus the Red Sox. He went 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, no walks. On the road, he's been a little worse than he has been at home. 4.33 ERA, 251 opponent's batting average. Look at Tyon's numbers starting to rise. He had such a great start to the year, but that home run count has been climbing. Tyler Wells, 3.38 ERA, 1.08 whip. Just a beast on the mound, but that doesn't equate to strikeouts. Just 59 and 85 in a third. Big boy. Last start, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks, and a 5-4 loss at Tampa. At home, he's been very good. Undefeated. Well, 2-0, 2.76 ERA, 214 opponent's batting average. Yankees versus righties, 244, 768 OPS. Orioles versus righties, just 233, 692 OPS. And both bullpens have been stellar this year. Take it away here, Babano. Yankees, Orioles.
Baltimore first 5, Baltimore full game, money line, split for me. And look, this is one of those games where you've got a team that's actually played a game, well, 2 games, because they played a doubleheader with the Astros yesterday. They played 2 games, the Yankees, following the All-Star break. Baltimore hasn't played any yet. So is it an advantage for New York that they've played a couple of games, they've gotten a little bit of that rhythm, especially and timing back, especially for the hitters? You know, is that going to be a benefit for the Yankees here tonight, that they've played a couple of games now already since the break? Or is the negative part of this situation for New York the bigger deal? The travel. Because you played 2 games against Houston. It's a pretty exhausting day when you're just coming out of the All-Star break. You have to play a doubleheader with the Astros. Now you got to travel from Houston to Baltimore without a day off. So this is now going to be your third baseball game in what, 48 hours or 36 hours? So we'll see here in this one. The Yankees, we know, have owned Baltimore. There's no question. But I've been on Tyler Wells in pretty much every start. And even on this show, I've been on Tyler Wells a couple of times. He has been terrific. He's been, I think, their best pitcher start to finish this year. And yeah, he struggled to beat the Yankees, but it's not necessarily been because he's pitched terribly. He has a 3.32 ERA against them. And if you look at Wells' numbers when he faced them earlier this year, they just didn't give him a whole lot of run support. He didn't really pitch that poorly against New York. On the flip side, you're right. Tyon's numbers are going in the opposite direction as of late. Hasn't pitched as well the last month compared to earlier in the season, which is concerning to me going into this start. Yeah, I mean, Wells has given up 4 runs in 14 innings against the Yankees. He hasn't pitched that poorly, but lost all 3 games because of lack of run support. I think the Orioles can finally give him a little run support. Like I said, I don't like the way things are trending here for Tyon. He was much better that final start before the break against Boston, but I need to see more than just one good outing, because before that he got smashed for 11 runs, 10.1 innings against the Pirates and the Red Sox combined. So, I think there's a chance Baltimore can steal this one. And again, their home record's been great. Overall, what have they lost? 1 game in their last 13, 14 or so. And look, the Yankees come out of the All-Star break sputtering, albeit a very good Astros team, but losing both of those games. The Yankee bullpen now for weeks hasn't been as good as it was earlier in the year. So I'm looking at this year as Baltimore's very live, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with them money line here, first 5 and full game split.
I like it. I don't think I'm going to double up myself, but I think this makes sense. I think this makes sense, and it makes sense going after a full game. Orioles first 5 plus 126, full game plus 137. We have a question from our razor sharp picks as we are celebrating Del Mar Racetrack where the turf meets the surf. Opening day today, and we start at 3 p.m. Cash at Fridays, and I got a big bottle of Kraken. Well, I'm gonna actually have to run after the show and get a big bottle of Kraken for the festivities. Might you make an appearance today on our horse racing? Okay,
I actually might. How long are you guys going? Like at 3 p.m. until like tonight? It's through the evening, through the whole card, right? The Del Mar card usually goes to like 9 or 10 Eastern, right?
Oh, we'll go later than that. Emerald starts at 10 p.m.
Well, very good. You know what I'll do? I'll jump on for a little bit in the evening part. Definitely, yep.
You heard it here. Babano's in. Babano going first 5 and full. Yeah, we're going to midnight. First 5 full game.
Yeah, I think I'll jump on for like an hour and a half or so right before the CFL game starts. That's probably what I'll do.
I love it. I fucking love it. Babano, my guy. All right, let's move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. San Diego Padres 52 and 42, 27 and 21 on the road at the New York Mets 58 and 35, 28-15 home. Citi Field in Queens, New York. I had another friend call me yesterday saying, I got my Mets futures. Do you? And I still don't. I'd love to hear your thoughts on New York Mets futures involved in your breakdown here in this game. Citi Field in Queens, New York. Let's just take a look at the weather here in New York. 90 Fahrenheit. Feels like 95. 9.6 miles per hour to right center. Dami Gunrici, do you have Mets futures? I know you don't love tying up money in futures, but I'd love to hear if you do. Down to 7.3 miles per hour. It's humid. Offensive weather. All these stadiums have offensive weather. Dami Gunrici says Padres 2 and 8 at Citi Field. 2 and 8. 2 and 11 last 13 on the road. Dami does not have Mets futures. Interesting. Johnny Gunn says Del Mar is my local track. I'm excited. I live 15 minutes away. God, you're a lucky man, Johnny Guns. I live in Parkdale, amongst the crack and the pigeons. I would much rather trade spots, man. Let's go over to the line history here and see what we are dealing with. This is going to be a beauty. So, of course, like you guys, I would like to back Scherzer. But I found it, and Darvish's numbers on the road are terrible, and we'll go over them. But I found it quite interesting that there'd been a 5-cent move to the Padres. And total perspective, it opened up at 6.5 and went to 7. So when we take a look at the cash flow in this one, we have a little over half line value on the San Diego Padres. 22% of the tickets are on the Padres and 50% of the cash. Well, that explains the 5-cent move towards the Padres in a Scherzer start. So I love when we can explain things. We're not confused by them. 62% of tickets and 78% of cash on the over. Well, if there's big bets coming in on the Padres and also sharp bets coming in on the over, then are they saying that Scherzer is going to get touched here? Because it's sort of what the market is indicating. Darvish 8 and 4, 3.41 ERA, 0.99 WHIP. Great season. Coming off a quality start, not great by his standards, but quality. 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 homers, 9 Ks, 2 walks, and 5-3 win home versus Arizona. On the road, though, 3 and 3, 5.25 ERA, 270 opponent's batting average. Maximus Scherzer on the other side. I gave my daughter Ella like a 5-minute Max Scherzer breakdown, and she just couldn't get over the blue-eye, brown-eye situation. She loved the Max Scherzer breakdown this morning. 6-1, 2.22 ERA, 0.88 WHIP, 90 Ks in 69 innings with 6 home runs allowed in his last start, 6 1/3, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 11 Ks, 1 walk, and a 4-3 extra inning win at the Cubs. At home, 3-0, 2.45 ERA, 180 opponents batting average. A little worse than he's been on the road, but good. Padres versus righties, just 238, 684 OPS. Mets versus righties, 259, 734 OPS. Mets bullpen has been good this year, 3.46 ERA, 1.20 WHIP, 26 of 39 save converted. The Padres bullpen has really good numbers in Loshak's, his personal numbers and breakdowns of the bullpens, but this year they haven't been that good. 3.85 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, converted 31 to 45. So here is very similar to the Cubs-Phillies game, where this looks like it's a Mets spot. Like in the Cubs-Phillies, it looks like a Philly spot, but I see all the sharp action on the road teams, and it makes me nervous. Take it away here, Babano, for us, Padres-Mets.
Yeah, this is Mets -0.5, -112. first 5 innings for me. I think it's a good look. Scherzer has been excellent, just terrific since returning. I mean, you always worry, the guy's coming back from a long time away. How's he going to fare? He's been absolutely phenomenal. Teams are hitting just 180 against Scherzer since he's been back. This current San Diego team, they haven't hit a lick against Scherzer outside of Eric Hosmer. So I think this is a spot where he's going to end up doing the job again, have another good outing. I don't trust Darvish. Darvish on the road is not someone I'm willing to back. He has actually pitched well at times against the Mets in the past, but I just don't trust him on the road. I don't trust this Padres team on the road necessarily. They've struggled away from Petco Park of late. And to me, Darvish is definitely someone that's hittable away from Petco Park. And to be honest with you, I've noticed even at home at times the last couple starts he's had there, he's labored. Let's put it that way. Hasn't always looked that way in terms of the final box score, but he's labored, at times in the past. So to me, I like the Mets here to win the game. I debated whether I'd go full game run line or the first 5. I think the first 5's the better look. The Mets bullpen still sometimes scares me a little bit, even though they've been, probably better overall this season than they've been in the past. So I'm going to go with the New York Mets. First 5 innings here, we'll lay minus 112 on that.
Minus 110 at Pinnacle. That's what we'll give you. First 5 minus a half with the Mets. I'm not going to go up against this sharp cash here at this point, but I get it. I completely get it, and I will cheer you guys on. By the way, Domi Gun Ricci, he never bets a run line at minus money, but he's on the Mets minus 1.5 at plus 120 in this spot. Domi says line moving towards the Mets. Let me just double check that here. I've got a 5-cent move towards the Padres. The last move was at 3:42 a.m. So I have the Mets at minus 180. Let's just see again what Pinnacle has them at. Pinnacle has them at minus 174. So I do not think I don't see any line. All I see is a line move towards the Padres and the sharp action on the Padres. Not that should scare you guys, So I get it. I get why you're on it. So let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The Toronto Blue Jays at the Boston Red Sox. Blue Jays 50-43, just 20-24 on the road at the Boston Red Sox. 48-45, 23-20 at home. Fenway Park in Boston. Surprising watching these two teams a limp to the All-Star break, but that was something that Jose Bouquet mentioned often, that these teams were just limping into the All-Star break, just trying to get to the All-Star break, and they got there. I have doubled up on the Toronto Blue Jays here today. I know we can get to Eovaldi. I expect Gausman to pitch well, but I don't know what the Blue Jays are going to do in the second half. And I can't wait to talk about this game. So let's bring on your host of Say Hey Plays, who will also be on our horse racing stream. He's earned a lot of fans with his horse racing calls. Please welcome Jose Zenyatta Bouquet to the show. Jose, how are you?
Doing all right. Excited for the second half. 2-0 day yesterday. Can't complain. Can't complain.
There we go. Very good.
I haven't had the opportunity to congratulate you on your spectacular call on who would be the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft.
Shout out to my baby boy Jackson Holiday. Come on, that all lined up perfectly. I got here's another. You're a cleat chaser, Jimmy. I know this. My sister also used to be a cleat chaser. So back in the day, Matt Holliday carried me when he was in Single A. There's a picture of him carrying me as a wee babe when he was in Single A for the Rockies.
Let's talk Jays Red Sox now, but congratulations on your success.
You want to talk about my mom grabbing Miguel Cabrera's ass one time too? That was awesome.
I don't.
We talked about the other day. We were proud.
Let's stay focused here on this Jays Red Sox game here, and I'm excited about this one. This is a big one. 88 Fahrenheit, 6.5 miles per hour out to right field. Every game so far has had very offensive weather. This is no different. Let's go to the line history here. The line history. Slow jams, Arsenal in the house. Blue Jays Fox says, fade the Blue Jays so they can win 2 games in a row. I would not take them in a free bet the way they have been playing. I think they won 4 of their last 5. So
Billy, it was both at the same time, Billy. Maglio and Miguel Cabrera.
The Jays opened up at a pick'em, -110 when this line opened up at Bet365 at 149 in the morning. And there's been a 10-cent move towards them. I got in at -120. I got in on the first 5 at -125. I came very close. It was just for a quarter. For no vig, a -0.5. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that for 25 cents. It's just not worth it. This total opened up at 8.5 -115. It's now 8.5 at -125. 8.5 at -125. Let's go over to the cash flow here. We have maybe 15% line value on the Toronto Blue Jays, 4,615 tickets in. 79% of the tickets on the Jays and 95% of the cash. If you're saying, well, why hasn't the market moved further in their direction? That's a very valid statement. It makes me nervous reading that. 75% of the tickets and 98% cash on the over. So there's tons of money on the Jays, tons of money on the over. And we've only seen 10-cent moves to both. Gausman, 6 and 7, 2.87 ERA, 1.29 whip, 106 Ks in 94 innings. He's only allowed 3 home runs in 94 innings. At times this year, he's looked like the best pitcher in the American League. Well, I guess not with Ohtani, I guess. But at times this year, he's looked very, very good. And at times this year, it looks like he's tipping his pitches. Last start, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 6 Ks, 2 walks, and a 3-1 loss at home versus the Royals. They looked, Luke Chase, I get it. They did not look good in that series against the Royals, who were missing 10 players. Like, they haven't looked good. So I can understand your thought process totally.
That was a very frustrating series for me as well, Jim, if it makes you feel better.
It doesn't. Nathan Eovaldi, 4-2, 3.34 ERA, 1.14 whip, 72 and 2. I don't know why I'm getting like angry talking about the Blue Jays, but I feel like anger is starting to
I think it's me. I think it's just me.
No, it's not you at all, man. I love working with you. 4 1/3, Eovaldi last out. 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and 5 extra in the win at the Yankees. At home, 1-2, 4.67 ERA, 294 opponents batting average. Eovaldi's not been good at Fenway. He's not been good against the Toronto Blue Jays, and I want to fade him. Blue Jays versus righties, 264, 766 OPS. They smash him. Red Sox, 252, but not much power, 712 OPS. Blue Jays bullpen, atrocious. Converted just 26 of 43 saves, 4.11 ERA, 1.23. Red Sox bullpen's very streaky, and they did not look good to get into the All-Star break. Let's start with you, Jose. You've had a spectacular first half of the season, and I've loved watching it. You started out the second half 2-0. What are you doing here, Blue Jays, Red Sox?
What's funny about this is, Jimmy, you feel negatively about the Blue Jays. I feel as good about the Blue Jays as I've felt all year. Now I think is the time to buy in on the Blue Jays. They are I don't know if you consider, I think it's like plus 2,500, but whatever it is too. I think that's a long shot, I guess. I think they're my long shot American League team. Right as of right now. First of all, like I said, they needed to get to the All-Star break bad. Bad. Their bullpen is horrific, and we all know that. I hope, and I have a little bit of faith that the Blue Jays front office will make efforts to try to fix that at the trade deadline. And truthfully, all they have to do is get in. If you get into the playoffs, you've got Manoah and Gausman as a 1 and 2 that is as good as any you'll get out there. It's really good. And, 3 obviously is Jose Barrios probably, and he's a fucking train wreck, I think. But he can still pull out a good start every once in a while. So a 1, 2, 3 of those 3 guys is great. You just have to get into the playoffs. And, Jim, I'll tell you, I had probably financially, I had a great night the last day of the season. Emotionally, I was as low as I've been all year. I have not slept since that day, actually. I have not slept well. I've stayed up till like 3 or 4 in the morning every night, mostly playing out of the park baseball. Shout out to them. But Chris Sale breaking his pinky and just getting fucking crushed by that line drive has just shaken me to my core. It shook everyone in the Red Sox. And now, after thinking the Red Sox are going to make the playoffs, I think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. And I would not be surprised at all, because obviously this is going to be a seller's market. Everyone and their moms are going to be trying to buy and try to get to the playoffs. The Red Sox have JD Martinez going into free agency this year. He could be traded. Xander Bogaerts could be traded, which will fucking kill me. I will be needed. Oh my God, I can't even get the words out of my mouth. It would fucking kill me. Nathan Eovaldi, a free agent after this year. He could be the second best starting pitcher on the market. And the Red Sox can recoup a lot of aspects. And John Henry and the Fenway Sports Group are being skunts right now. Thank you. You're welcome. And it's really frustrated me. But all this to say, I think the Red Sox are going downhill quickly. And I don't know. Well, I would have said pre-Chris Sale fucking his pinky getting shattered. I would have said second half, here we go. But Chris Sale was supposed to be that emotional bump. He kicked in the dick. They don't want to re-sign Devers and Bogaerts. Everything is just down on this Red Sox team. Gausman this year, if you've seen Gausman's stats against the Red Sox this year, 2-0, 3 games started, a .43 ERA. I said last time out, because I'm pretty sure I bet against them. I said last time out, and the same thing with Ohtani too. If you've got a great splitter against the Red Sox, just game over. You'll fucking dominate the Red Sox. Gausman, every time this year against the Red Sox, has looked like Big Papa Pump. Has put his dick in and around their mouths. It's been just a truly terrible sight to see. And if you think Nasty Nate's going to get touched up by this Blue Jays offense, which, like I said, I think is going to come back and perform well this second half. They were horrible against lefties that last 3 weeks going into the All-Star break. That doesn't matter because of Nate, but I just really think they're going to come out and play well here. I'd be buying in the Blue Jays now. I'd be back in the Blue Jays here. But I think officially my play, I'm not going to say this. I think I'm looking towards that first 5 under 4.5 as well. But it's Blue Jays and that first 5 under for me. I don't have anything official as of right now. We'll make everything official and Say Hey Plays. Shout out to Say Hey Plays, 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. Connor Mack, special guest today. But yeah, no, I'm as pessimistic as I've been all year about the Red Sox.
I found that whole breakdown extremely enjoyable.
I know. I thought you would. I knew when you Poopy Pants Jimmy came out, I thought, I know what the recipe would be to fix Jimmy. I know exactly. Just tell them the Blue Jays are back. And I really do think they're back. I think the coaching change. Did you see the Bo Bichette quote about that was the first thing I was like, okay, all right. They needed this.
I can see why they did it, is what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you don't hear that often. Yeah. So obviously that was for a reason. Maybe these young guys are like, you know what? I don't want, pussy ass Charlie Montoya in there anymore. I want someone hard. And Scribner, Johnny boy looks like he's ready to whip some ass. So
the rhetoric's been great man, great guy, great family man, but horrible in-game manager. I mean, that's that at times. That's what it's been with Charlie. And look, and John Schneider's ready. John Schneider's been in the organization forever. He's coached multiple minor league ball teams to championships. So I think they saw that too in making this move, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, they've responded, at least in the first few games.
I think the break was very good for them. I think it helped a lot. Get away from the underachieving pressure that is being thrown in their direction. I love the breakdown. I expect you to pull the trigger on the Blue Jays, Jose, and you can do that at your leisure. Let's hear Babano's breakdown. Babano, how are you betting it? Take it away.
Yeah, I'm on the Jays too, but I'm just going to go full game. Straight to the full game. No double up, no split here. Just full game with the Blue Jays here, because I think the bullpen, you got to admit, I mean, the Blue Jay bullpen the last 10 games is below 3, their ERA, and it's been just the polar opposite for Boston. It's been rough for that bullpen, so I'm just going to play the full game here with the Blue Jays. Gausman's just dominated Boston this year. If you look at the starts, I mean, he's just been fantastic here against the Red Sox this year. See if that carries over. But Gausman, three starts against the Red Sox this year. How about 2 runs allowed in 21 innings? Against Boston this year. So he's just completely silenced their bats. He's 4-0 in his last 4 starts against the Red Sox, 3-0 as a member of the Blue Jays against Boston this year. Eovaldi wasn't pitching well at Fenway, almost 5 ERA at Fenway, hasn't pitched in a while. I don't trust him here in his first start back. So put it all together, and Boston obviously playing horrible baseball going into the break. So Toronto for me at the, I think, minus 120. Yeah, minus 120. Yeah.
I'm doubling up.
It sucks. I really hope your front office makes the correct bullpen moves. I really hope so, because
we will only
now.
If we go 3-7 over the next 10 games, there will be no moves.
Well, I hope you don't. The Red Sox have a brutal fucking schedule coming up. So like I said, this is going to be, Jimmy, I hope you realize if Xander Bogaerts gets traded, you might not see me the next day. Like, I will be really, really broken up. And by the way, I'll say this is a little primer, to the free agency and realizing I'll be in Houston, for trade deadline day. So that'd be fun, but I meant trade deadline instead of free agency. But prior to that, I don't think Juan Soto goes anywhere. I'd be pretty surprised and pretty shocked if he gets traded already.
They have to trade him.
Well, he's got years. They will trade him in the offseason, not right now. They've got 2 more years of control on top of this one. They're gonna hold on to him right now. If a team can come together and put an offer that quickly, I would be pretty surprised. And if it's the Yankees, Jim, I will. If the Juan Soto goes to the Yankees, Jim, I'll quit the show. I promise you, I won't do the show ever again. I promise you, I will not. No one on Pub Sports Radio will see my face for fucking months.
Oh, don't say that. We had to go through the Sabino roller coaster.
You can't have any sabbaticals for Jose.
No, it won't be a sabbatical. It'll be me just. I'll be just the walker. I'll be walking around the United States. I'll be like Forrest Gump, just walking instead of running, because I don't fucking run. Just walking, trying to figure out my life. Walking coast to coast. Fucking sick.
All right, I just doubled up. Woo-wee! Let's fucking go. They better turn it the fuck on. I'm going to lose my shit. All right. That was very, very enjoyable. Got my blood pumping. God, what a day we're going to have. The horses, Blue Jays, Red Sox. Fucking beautiful. Jose, thank you for the breakdown. Is there another spot you'll be joining me? Let me know. Hit me in the chat if you're going to.
I will. Yes, I will. I am in the process of capping all these games right now. It's a lovely time. And as always, like I said, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, Say Hey plays. Me and Connor Mack, 296 and 287, up 23.96 units. Up 21 units at the end of the first half. We tack on 2 more yesterday. And I'll say this, by the way, just another primer. You guys will say I'm a Yankee hater, but every time the Astros and Yankees play, every single time, just bet the Astros. Every single time. They're just a better squad. They're the better squad, and you can't escape them. You really cannot escape them. They're the better squad, and they're going to be the other team in the American League in the championship series. They always are. So.
Spectacular work, Jose. May the baseball gods bless you on your travels. Babano's with me on the Jays. All right, we move on to 7:20 p.m. Eastern. LA Angels 39 and 53, 17 and 26 on the road at the Atlanta Braves, 56 and 38, 31 and 20 at home. We're at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Onagen asking, what is the Say Hey play? We're waiting patiently. Maybe you'll have to watch Say Hey plays to get it, because we don't force them. But I expect one to be coming. Ohtani versus Charlie Morton. I couldn't help myself on this one, but I just couldn't. Maybe I'm just a fucking schmuck, public fucking idiot. But how the fuck do I not bet Ohtani for his 5 with a plus number beside it? I mean, it's just I couldn't stop it. I was like, I didn't even care if it's trap. If it's a fucking trap, I'll go into it. I just couldn't even, it was like I was just unconsciously fucking doing it. Like I couldn't even. Let's talk about the weather here in Atlanta. It's humid, 85 Fahrenheit, feels like 96, 5.1 miles per hour, right to left, depths to 4.2 miles per hour. Go over to the line history here. And move over here. Here we go. The line history, Ohtani Morton. We have no movement whatsoever. There had been a 5-cent move to the Braves. It's come back. It came back an hour ago. This total was a pick'em. It's now minus 125 to the over. And let's see where the cash lies here. In this one, 7,515 tickets in. 50-50. Wow. 50% of the tickets on the Angels, 49% of the cash. It's very coin flippy. 36% of tickets, 79% of cash on the under, and yet market moving towards the over is tricky. There's Dutch Boy fresh in the house. Catch the Daily Sesh today. God, I love that show. Friday, today, 4:20 p.m. Eastern. Angels, Braves, Ohtani, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 12 Ks, 2 walks, and 7-1 win at home versus the Astros. Look, he's been better at home than he's been on the road. But I had to take him first 5 at plus 110. I just had to do it. Charlie Morton's last start was ugly. He was at home versus the Mets. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 homers, 6 Ks, 3 walks. I can imagine that the break helped him, I guess. 3-1, 4.31 ERA, 210 opponents batting average at home. Angels just 231, 694 OPS versus righties. Look, Braves smash righties, 245, 744 OPS. Angels bullpen 4.08 ERA, 1.24 whip. Ugly. Braves bullpen so good. 3.14 ERA, 1.16 whip. Though they've only converted 34 of 52 save opportunities. I moved on the Angels first 5 at plus money. I just couldn't stop myself. Take it away here, Angels, Braves.
Yeah, it's difficult to lay off taking a shot with the Angels' first 5 and Ohtani's dominance, which has been 0.48 ERA in his last 3 starts. It's hard to turn it down. 2 runs allowed in his last 18 plus innings. What's he at? 13, 11, 10, and 12 strikeouts in his last 4 starts against the Royals, White Sox, Marlins, and Astros. That's the one caveat. Other than Houston, Marlins aren't hitting right now. The White Sox have been disappointing at the plate. Kansas City's not a great lineup, so. Will he fare as well here against the All-Star break? After the All-Star break, that's the question. Morton on the other side here for Atlanta obviously struggled against the Mets before the break. 5 runs, 6 hits, 5 innings of work. Not a big fan of laying this price with Atlanta. I understand the attractiveness of taking the Angels' first 5 at the plus price with Ohtani's recent form. No question about it. But this is a horrible team other than him right now. They can't hit a lick. They've been finding ways to lose games. Their bullpen's not good at all. And obviously there's a huge edge to Atlanta in that regard later in the game. What are they? They're just 2-8 in their last 10 games. I'm passing on the game, but I understand why people would want the Angels here, at least early with Ohtani's numbers. But I do think the Braves are going to push him a little bit more. We'll see if he can pitch as well.
Yeah, I could see this blowing up in my face. I just couldn't help myself. There's Foxy. Coming to us from the UK. Great to see you, Foxy. Thank you for rolling with us. LJ from H-Town getting a love from Joe Yurkovich with his great stats. Johnny Gunn says LA bats are cold. Ohtani gets exposed. He gives up 5 today. Maybe I just plus line. I could easily see myself losing this looking back at it, but I just couldn't stop myself from making the bet. We move on to 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Guardians 46-44, 21-25 on the road at the Chicago White Sox 46-46, 19-25 at home. We're at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Cal Quantrill going up against Lucas Giolito. Giolito coming off a nice start against these Guardians in Cleveland, and my first instinct was, I don't think I'm. Look, the line I got, obviously, the time I bet it, mistakes were made. When I thought I was getting a value on the White Sox to win the division, it was, if I had to wait it, I would have got a beautiful plus line. I did not wait, and I got minus 140. I put 400 on it. Right now, it's plus 120. God, I mean, yeah. But I'm still sitting here thinking that the White Sox are going to win this division, and Giolito is going to show what he can do. The problem here was all these big bets coming in on the Guardians and the market not moving towards the White Sox. And I put it all together, and I didn't even, I completely erased the leans so that I wouldn't. So I'm not going to move on it. We have a 15-cent move towards the Guardians. They go from plus 145 to plus 130. From a total perspective, it goes from 8 to 8.5. Cash flow wise, we have full line value on the Cleveland Guardians. So that completes the 3 teams with full line value, according to Sports Insights: the Cincinnati Reds, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Cleveland Guardians. 6,002 tickets in, 43% of the tickets on Cleveland, and 75% of the cash. That caught me. 38% tickets on the under, 55% of cash on the under, and yeah, it's moved from 8 to 8.5. And Lee Davis says White Sox and Cardinals with the 2 easiest schedules remaining. Oh, I love that. No, God, at plus 120. God, maybe I'm not going to go in again. I can't. Jack Rosenblatt says Lean Guardians here. Great to see you, Jack. Quantrill last start was really nice. 10-0 win at home. 6 innings for it. No one runs, 5 Ks. He's been much better at home than he has been on the road. 3.75 ERA, 1.29 whip on the year. But on the road, 1-5, 4.66 ERA, 3.09 opponent's batting average. Giolito has been worse at home than he's been on the road. 4.69 ERA, 1.40 whip on the year. But at home, he's 2-3 with a 5.30 ERA, 2.88 opponent's batting average. Guardians are hitting 260, 729 OPS versus righties. White Sox are hitting 250, but just a 671 OPS versus righties. When is that power going to come from the right-hand side? Guardians bullpen, 3.66 ERA, 1.21 whip, 22 at 31. But don't look now. Oh, that's stupid to say, but the White Sox bullpen is starting to pitch better finally. We thought they'd be a top 3 bullpen when the season started, and now they're starting to show signs of it. 3.90 ERA, 1.30 whip, 26 of 40. Take it away here, Babano. Guardians, White Sox.
Yeah, I'm going to go over the total. Over 8 minus 120. There's actually an 8 at Win Sportsbook. Minus 120. We're going to take that. Over 8 minus 120. Cleveland and Chicago here. You're right about Quantrill. I don't like his trajectory away from home. He hasn't pitched great outside of Cleveland. 4.66 ERA, 25 runs and 38 innings pitched on the road this season. He's pitched better at home, and the White Sox have done damage against Quantrill in the past. So I think you're going to see Chicago. And Chicago's starting to hit before the break. If you look at some of these games, they put up big numbers. They had a 7-run game. They had a 12-run game. They had a 10-run game. The White Sox were starting to hit before the break. And we know this lineup is underachieved a little bit, but they've also had some injuries to deal with. You get this whole lineup healthy and together again, and that's going to come in time. We know this still can be a potent offense, and I think you'll see them score some runs tonight. Giolito's been better his last few starts. There's no question. 2.84 ERA, and he has good numbers against Cleveland this year, but he still hasn't been as good at home. I do think Cleveland is another team going into the break. We saw them score some runs in bunches. They put up 4 and 8 in 2 games against the White Sox. They scored a collective 20 runs in 3 games against the Detroit Tigers in the final series before the break. So you're giving me an 8 with the total here, with 2 pitchers that I don't think are going to shut the door completely, 2 capable lineups, trending towards scoring more runs. Both of them against righties are hitting a lot better in the last 10 games. Going into this matchup, you've got Chicago right now averaging 6.1 runs per game and a better batting average against righties the last 10. You got Cleveland hitting 301 as a team, 5.5 runs per game against righties in the last 10 games. So I thought this total looked short to me, over 8.
You have it locked in. Dominic Enrique says White Sox, who I notoriously go against dating back a few seasons, I do think can take the Twins in the division. White Sox heating up, getting healthy. Look at Sammy Comer, plus 5,000 to win the World Series on the White Sox. I'm sitting here with a minus 140 division bet, but I'm not going to start. I'm not going to compound any losses by getting a better number now. 400 is fine. I don't want to invest anymore on that spot. There you go. Babano's on the over 8 in Guardians, White Sox, at minus 120. We move on, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies, 43 and 50, excuse me. 15 and 27 on the road at the Milwaukee Brewers, 50 and 43, 21 and 19 at home. We're at American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. UCapper Sports in the house. Welcome. Great to see you. Senzatella going up against Corbin Burns. Very a sign of how weak this Rocky starting pitching staff is, that they would open up the second half with Senzatella on the mound and activate him off the 15-day IL. And start him on the road. Like, just strange. We haven't seen him. He had a shoulder issue, and we haven't seen him since, I thought I wrote it down here, July 1st, where he had 2 innings for it, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 K, 1 walk, and a 9-3 loss at home versus Arizona. 4.95 ERA, 1.80 whip. but he's been so bad on the road. 6.86 ERA on the road. Corbin Burns, on the other hand, has been worse, quite a bit worse at home than he's been on the road. His last start, 10 Ks, 3 walks, 7 1/3, just 1 earned run allowed in the 3-2 extra inning win at San Francisco. 2.14 ERA, 0.90 whip on the year, but 3-3, 2.72 ERA, 184 points batting average. Still 184 points batting average. He's very good. Rockies versus righties, 248, 699 OPS. Brewers versus righties, 239, 738 OPS. The Rockies bullpen, 4.69 ERA, 1.39 whip. The middle part of the bullpen, not strong, but listen, they've converted 27 of 34 save opportunities. That's the best percentage in the league. Brewers bullpen, 3.84 ERA, 1.23 whip. We thought they'd be better than they've been. Converted 35 of 47 save opportunities. Let's go over to the line history here. We have a huge move towards the Brewers. So this morning when I was looking at it, it was minus 275. It'd been a 15-cent move at that point. Now it's a 30-cent move, so it's minus 290. The total opened up. I don't believe this. Sorry, let me just see what I think there's a mistake here with their. Let's see what it is. I imagine it's not going to be if that's. Yeah, 7.5 at minus 120. 120 to the under. So it opened up at 7 minus 115. Now it's 7.5 at minus 120 to the under. And from a cash perspective, 7,893 tickets in, 8% of the tickets and 27% of the cash on the Rockies. Some big bets coming in on them. 62% of tickets, 97% of cash on the over, and it's gone from 7 to 7.5. Take it away, Babano, Rockies Brew Crew.
The only thing I'd consider here is team total over for the Brewers. If I were to get involved, I mean, Senzatella is terrible on the road, 6.86 ERA. Colorado's a team is not good on the road. Here we go again, 28-23 at Coors Field and 15-27 on the road. I mean, just another season where it's just Jekyll and Hyde team, home versus road. So I understand why the money's coming in on Milwaukee and Burns, and you mentioned Burns a little bit worse at home, but still, I mean, 2.72 ERA at home is still pretty damn good. I don't trust the Rockies' offensive numbers across the board just drop like a stone when they get away from Coors Field. So there's no way I'd be interested in the Colorado side or Senzatella with his atrocious track record on the road this year. It's just at -5, even -0.5 with Milwaukee's not great value. You'd probably have to go -1 first 5 and to find any sort of value to back the Brewers here. But over 4.5 I might look at. So it's one of those where I'll confirm it at the end of the show if I'm on it. But I lean to the Brewers over 4.5 team total.
Lean towards the Brewers for Babano. I'm going to stay off that spot. Let's move on to 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Rays, 51-41, 20-23 on the road at Kansas City Royals, 36-56, 19-27 at home. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm looking at the Rays, 10 games over 500, and just enormously impressed. What a job of handling adversity with injury after injury.
Another injury. Kevin Cash masterclass. Yep.
Wow. This is going to be a dangerous team in the second half, I'm sure. Let's start with the weather here in Kansas City. And here we go. It's hot. 97 Fahrenheit. Feels like 105 at first pitch. 12.8 miles per hour out to left center. Goes down to 9.4. A ton of offensive weather today. And here in Kansas City, it is no different. Let's go over to the line movement in KC. We have a 25-cent move to the Tampa Bay Rays. So it opened up at 1:49 a.m. at minus 105. 7:42, it moves to minus 125. So you get that 20-cent move, and then 5 more at 9:24 a.m. So a 25-cent move to the Rays. Then this total opened up at 9 minus 120 to the over. It's now 9 minus 115 to the under. Let's move over to the cash flow in this one. Slight line value towards the Tampa Bay Rays, maybe 10%. We have 83% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on the Rays. Market moving towards them. 51% of tickets, 51% of cash on the over. So basically a coin flip. Rasmussen on the hill. Coming off an okay start, 5-4 win at home versus the Red Sox, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 1 walk, 5-3 with a 3.22 ERA, 1.16 whip on the year. On the road, he struggled a bit. 2-3, 4.50 ERA, 2.77 opponent's batting average. Going up against Brad Keller, who's turning it on. He's showing that he's the ace of this baseball team. Last start was nice. Now it was against the meek offensive Tigers. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, 1 walk, and a 3-1 win for the Royals. He's a 3.96 ERA, 1.27 WHIP on the year. At home, he's 2-5 with a 3.48 ERA, 238 opponents batting average. We've been waiting for Brad. Sorry, I get Brad and Mitch confused. We've been waiting for Brad Keller to step up, and it's finally happening. God, she's a smoke show. Look at her on the mound. And she's starting to pitch very well. Royals versus righties, 242, 674 OPS. Rays versus righties, 235, 683 OPS. Rays bullpen, 3.40 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. The middle relief has been so good all year long. They just can't finish off games. 27 of 50 converted save opportunities, which means they've failed to save 23 games this year. That's wow. And they're 10 games over 500. Royals bullpen, 21 of 33 converted save opportunities, 4.63 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. Dommy Gun Ricci said, I took Tampa first thing, minus 118. Well, you beat the line move there. Take it away here, Babano. Rays, Royals.
Yeah, it looks, of course, now Kansas City had so many key guys out against Toronto because of unvaccinated and couldn't make the trip. A lot of those guys are going to be back here, obviously, for this game back home against Tampa, except Merrifield's got an injury. So I don't think Whit Merrifield's going to be in the lineup here. He's got the toe injury for Kansas City, but everybody else should be back. I'm on Tampa Bay full game here. I'm not ready to trust Brad Keller just yet. I think I was very, very surprised the price opened as low as it did. We know we've got the much better team, Tampa Bay. And, when you look at it, I don't mind Rasmussen. I mean, he's been solid for the most part. Yeah, can you quibble that maybe he's not been nearly as good on the road? Yeah. But he's facing a Kansas City team and a lineup that's kind of up and down. His last 3 starts have been good, 2.45 ERA. You're right about Keller. Brad Keller has been much better, and they've won all 3 of his last 3 starts as well, where he's pitched well for the Royals, Brad Keller. But, again, quality of lineup has to be factored in. Detroit twice. And in the Houston start, he actually kind of labored in that game. It got through, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, had some walk issues, 3 walks in that game. And the other 2 great starts were against a lowly Detroit team. So I think it's going to be more of a challenge here for Keller. To me, this just looked like very cheap price on the Better Ball Club, -1. I actually got -123. I think the best price out there right now looks to be -125 or so. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, -125 at Pinnacle. Let's roll with that. I like it. I'm just going to go full game here. No double up because I want the Rays bullpen working for me. So Tampa Bay -125.
You got it. Tampa Bay -125. Yeah. I probably made a mistake not moving on this earlier. Babano, you are in, and I'm not going to be able. I mean, I would have to take him on the -1 line, which I don't hate. What would that be? -130 and +150. Late to the party. Okay. God, maybe I come along. Okay, we move on. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. The Texas Rangers. George Ray Pro, thanks for the kind words, my man. Texas Rangers 42-49, 21-23 on the road at the Oakland A's, 33-62, 12-32 at home. Wow, 12 wins at home all year. Sammy Comer says, wild that Kansas City opened at -110 here. I guess the market was, overvaluing Brad Keller. What did you do on it, Sammy? Did you move on that game? Oakland Coliseum, we will start with the weather here. In Oakland, 61 Fahrenheit, 10.5 miles per hour out to center. Dies down to 9.5. So Spencer Howard versus Cole Irvin. We've been waiting for Spencer Howard to show why he was a highly thought of prospect. He's not done that this year, but he's coming off a nice start at home versus the Mariners. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 5 walks. Does a 6.97 ERA, 1.74 WHIP on the year. Cole Irvin has been very good this year. That was a hell of a back-to-back starts against the Astros. 3.21 ERA, 1.10 WHIP on the season. The final of those starts was very impressive. 5-1 win at Houston, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, 1 walk. At home, he's been lights out. lights out. 2-2, 1.68 ERA, 208 opponents batting average. But the Rangers smashed lefties, 250, 776 OPS. The A's versus righties just 208, 590 OPS. Rangers bullpen being good all year, 3.68 ERA, 1.22 whip, converted 21 of 37. A's bullpen 4.18 ERA, 1.38 whip, converted 20 of 36. Don Max says it right. He says Texas versus lefties or Irvin at home. Whom do you trust? Now, the Astros are only hitting 232, 708 OPS versus lefties. So let's not get too caught up in what he did to the Astros because we have a vividness bias of them ranking lefties. That's not the case this year. But it was a very nice performance after seeing them back-to-back. Let's take a look at the line history of this one before we hand it over to Babano. And there's just been another move, a 5-cent move back to Oakland. So it opened up at a pick'em. It got to minus 120 for the Rangers. It's now minus 115. So we'll go back to the total, and it opened up at 7.5, dropped to 7, and it came back to 7.5. So not much movement here. And when we go over to the cash, there is slight line value with Texas and Spencer Howard. 5,384 tickets in. 65% of the tickets, 44% of the cash on Texas. So the bigger bets are still coming in on Oakland. And then they don't have a cash count on the total, but 94% of tickets are on the over, which is strange. Take it away here, Babano, Rangers A's.
Oh, I'm on Oakland here, definitely, with Irvin at home. And I despise Spencer. I think Spencer Howard's pathetic, to be quite honest with you. I don't think there's much upside for this guy at all. He's had multiple injuries, blisters, arm injuries, you name it. His career ERA is still in the 7 range. He did nothing with Philadelphia. That's why they traded him. And here with Texas, he hasn't really been all that much better, to be quite honest with you. Okay, the last couple starts weren't terrible, but everything else has been for Spencer Howard. And he doesn't eat up innings. Has this guy ever pitched a game beyond 5 innings in his life? Seriously. I mean, you look back this year, last year, this guy just doesn't pitch deep into ball games. No, he's just someone I don't trust at all. And Irvin's a guy that at home, he's bet on all the way. I still remember right before the All-Star break, shutting down Houston at home, shutting down Toronto and pitching a gem against them in this ballpark. He knows how to pitch here at the Coliseum, Cole Irvin, and I'm going to trust him here to do the same. So for me, I'm going to go Splitsville on this one. Oakland first 5 full game split at a small home underdog price. Irvin's been good at home. I don't like Howard one bit. It's been bet against material for me all season. I'm going to keep going with it.
I get it. Let's get you your prices here. I'll go over to Penny, see what we are dealing with. They've got the A's down to plus 104. Plus 104 full game. I'm sure we can beat that. And minus 101 first 5. Wow. Thought you'd get a better price than that. Oh, but it's better than you're getting anywhere else. Better than Circa.
It is. Plus 104 full game at Pinnacle's better than everywhere else right now. Yep.
Wow, look at this. So, how does this make sense? So, oh, no, I guess it makes a bit of sense. We found you a plus 102 first 5 over at Circa. So,
all right,
we'll plus lines on both.
Yep. There we go.
Bobano first 5 plus 102.
And I know Texas hits lefties. I do. They've been excellent against lefties, but not against Irvin. Irvin shut him down. So, that Irvin's been great at home. And I don't like Howard much, so there's the premise for Oakland for me.
I get it. I wonder what Bet365 is hanging for that.
This is a pretty bad travel spot, too, for Texas. Remember, they played in Miami yesterday, and they're flying East Coast to West Coast with no day off now here to Oakland. This is a coast-to-coast trip for them. So from a scheduling spot and a situational perspective, this isn't great for the Rangers either.
No, you're right. I'm surprised you're just the kind of the extreme feelings on Howard. I mean, he's still like a second-round draft pick, 25 years old. He's certainly shown us nothing. If I was going to ride with this, it would just be first 5. Even though
if you're going to be some big-time pitcher, you got to pitch more than 5 goddamn innings at least once in your lifetime. He never does. That's the problem too.
Don Max says Howard has some pretty good stuff, surprisingly. I don't hate him as much as Babano yet.
yet.
All right, let's move on. I think
can I get a 7-inning outing once out of him? Six. Just 6. Give me 6. Give me 7 once. And for some reason, this guy he labors. He doesn't. You look last year, 2 years ago, this year so far, 4 or 5 innings is about tops is all you get from him.
I wonder if we have confirmation here on the next one. Is it Gallen versus Corbin? Yes, it looks like that is being confirmed here. Let's break it down. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Washington Nationals 31-63, 16-27 on the road at the Arizona Diamondbacks, 40-52, 22-26 at home. We're at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Patrick Corbin 4-12, 5.87 ERA, 1.70 WHIP, 99 2/3, 91 Ks, 35 walks. His last start, 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 2 homers, 8 Ks, 2 walks, and an 8-4 loss at home versus the Braves. On the road, he's being worse than he's been at home. He's showing a couple signs that he can pitch okay. He's still a very difficult guy to trust, especially on the road. On the road, opponents are hitting .349 against him. Wow. 7.19 ERA. Zach Gallen has not looked quite as strong of late, but he had a nice start in the 4-3 loss of the Giants last out. 6 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 2 walks. Being a little worse at home than he's been on the road, just a little. 2-0, 3.81 ERA, 208 opponents batting average. Nats 248, 697 OPS versus righties. Better than the Diamondbacks, who are just 217, 684. And both bullpens are poor and have similar numbers. Let's take a look at, sorry to pull this up here. Let's take a look. Well, we know the roof will be closed. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one, and then we'll take a look at where the cash lies as well. Why am I having a problem finding? Oh, here we go. We have no movement. Arizona opening up a -160. That's where they stand right now. There has been a 10-cent move to the over, and it's created a pick'em in the market. Then we'll take a look at where the cash lies in this. We have just 1,979 tickets in, so it's not really helping us. All we know is 80% of the tickets are on the Diamondbacks, but we don't have a cash count. Take it away here, Babano. Is there a move to make Nationals Diamondbacks?
I'm just looking and I'm seeing, and because I'm definitely looking toward, I'm wondering if I should go full game over or Arizona team total over. I want to fade Corbin. I know that. That's 100% for certain. Patrick Corbin's just not good. And on the road, obviously, he's had his issues as well. I definitely want to go against him. The question is, what are you going to get from Zach Gallen? And I've said I like Zach Gallen, a lot this year, multiple times. But, he's a pitcher right now that hasn't pitched nearly as well, the last month or so. How will he fare here against Washington remains to be seen. Of course, Juan Soto is going to be, trying to showcase himself for a bunch of potential trade deadline suitors. So that's something to keep in mind going into this one as well. But obviously fading Patrick Corbin is something that I am very interested in doing. There's no question about that. So I'm just going back and forth in terms of what I'm going to get from Gallen. Gallen, 4.58 ERA his last 3. His home numbers still aren't bad, 3.81 ERA at home this year for Zach Gallen. We'll see if that translates here in this one. So back and forth I go. I think I'm going to, when I look at this, going to go with just the Arizona team total over. I'd rather put my faith in them hitting Corbin rather than wondering if Washington's going to be able to produce against Gallen, who's a pitcher I like. Who's a pitcher I've backed multiple times. So I'm not really as interested in fading him and asking Washington to score the runs and create the offense for me tonight. So I'm going to go with official play here, Arizona over 4.5, -102, their team total at Pinnacle.
Over 4.5 and -102 for Babano. I get it. I'm going to wait a little bit.
Good production against lefties as well lately for Arizona.
Yeah, it does. It does seem like a spot where we should just move on the Diamondbacks and fade Corbin on the road. It just feels that way. I would have to take him on the -1 line. And then I guess I should probably just focus on the first 5, really. Why put into a coin flip with the bullpens? And if I wanted that first 5, I would have to take it on a -0.5. And if I did that, I would be getting -120. I think that would be what I have to do if I move on it, and I may do that. So, Arizona first 5. I'm going to look at that a little more right after the show. Although I won't have a lot of time because we are an hour and 59 minutes away from Cash It Fridays horse racing action. God, I can't fucking wait. All right, we move on. 2 games left on the board, and they are big ones. 10:10 p.m. Eastern, Houston Astros, 61-32, 31-18 on the road, fresh off sweeping the Bronx Bombers. At the Seattle Mariners, 51-42, 24-20 at home. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. We will start with the weather. The 74 Fahrenheit, 4.2 miles per hour left to right. What a beautiful night to see a game. God damn, that'd be nice. Jose Urquidy going up against Marco Gonzalez. Start with the line history in this one. Will the All-Star break cool down the Seattle Mariners? There's been a 5-cent move to the Astros. The first move was to the Mariners. It's come back. The last move to the Astros, 5-cent move, was just 11 minutes ago. From a total perspective, it opened up 8.5, slightly juiced to the under. It's still there. There's my guy Roger that in the house. Dominic Mero says, is Pub Sports Radio visiting Saratoga this year? No. And the issue for me, Dominic, is just that I'm moving my family out of this fucking shithole apartment in Parkdale, and it's being pushed, and it's messing up my summer.
Tell us how you really feel about your place of residence. Yeah.
It's awful. I just can't wait to get the fuck out of here. So let's go over to the line. Oh, we just did that. Excuse me. Let's go over to the cash in this one. We have 7,313 tickets in. 46% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on the Mariners. Then 71% of the tickets, 83% of cash on the under. There's Ken Mizrahi in the house. Dommy Gunn has to leave. Thank you for capping with us this morning, Dommy. We loved it. Please join our horse racing show if you have time. He's on Phillies first 5 under 4.5. Oakland under 7.5 full game. Mets -1.5. Tampa -118, and leaning to the Braves team total over and full game over in the Ohtani start. And Dommy Gunn Ricci did say that Ohtani would be a 4th starter on some MLB teams, which caught my attention. And Dommy Gunn says, and no, the Mariners don't even make the playoffs. Dommy, with some extreme calls, says they're a year away. By September, they will be starting to fade away. Marco Gonzalez, 5-9, 3.50 ERA, 1.37 whip. That last start at Texas was not good, but they've been raking against lefties, and he's been very good at home this year. His splits are pretty good regardless, but still 3 and 4, 3.21 ERA, 245 points batting average, 232, 708 OPS, the Astros versus lefties, 236, 706 OPS, Mariners versus righties. Astros bullpen the best in the league. Mariners bullpen being very good of late and actually has a lower whip season long and a better save percentage than the Astros. Take it away here, Babano. This one is fascinating. Astros Mariners.
Yeah, and I've been riding Seattle every game. They were one of my winners last Friday on the show, and I'm coming back to them. I know the All-Star break could hurt, could stunt the momentum and the rhythm and just the roll that they're on a little bit, but I'm going to back them here, and I can get right now Seattle at plus 112 right now, or plus 114 at Pinnacle, full game. So let's go with that. Seattle plus, and I'm just going to go full game. And why am I just going to go full game and not split it up here? Because Seattle's bullpen has been just phenomenal during this run. They have a 1.55 ERA out of their bullpen in the last 10 games. I mean, they've turned it around. They've found some arms that are getting the job done. Swanson Dinners is pitching well out of the bullpen. The ex-Blue Jay, even Brian Baracki's been very, very good in that bullpen. Even the old Seawald there has been effective in that Seattle bullpen lately. I mean, the bullpen's just getting it done right now for the Mariners. We know the lineup has been great. Ty France, awesome. Julio Rodriguez, coming out party for him during the All-Star festivities, obviously. Runner-up finalist in the Home Run Derby. Seattle's just been absolutely terrific. And yeah, the All-Star break I understand it could disrupt the rhythm, but again, we got Houston in a bit of a negative scheduling spot. They had the double header with the Yankees. They got to travel from Houston to the West Pacific Northwest here to play Seattle. Urquidy's been good lately. That's the one thing that does concern me. He's pitched very well lately, but not against Seattle. He has. The Mariners have destroyed Urquidy this year. He hasn't had one single good start against the Mariners this year. 3 starts, he's given up 6, 6, and 5, a grand total of 17 runs, 27 hits in 12 innings this year against the Seattle Mariners. Sir Urquidy has been crushed by Seattle in 3 starts this year. Marco Gonzalez is the master of, the tightrope walk. He gives up hits. There's runners on base in a lot of innings, and he just does a great job minimizing the damage. It's what he's done all year. He's given up 3 runs or less in all 3 starts against Houston this season. So put it all together, and talking about giving me a home underdog price with this red-hot Seattle team when I know it's Houston, the opponent, great team, but Urquidy's been crushed by Seattle. Gonzalez has been serviceable, solid against Houston. Sign me up, Seattle plus 114.
Mariners plus 114 for Babano. Tommy Gunn, I love the takes. I love it. It's good, it's just fun. Big shout out to Jack Rosenblatt. Thank you so much, man. $9.99 dono. He's coming off board sweepage yesterday. Richly deserved. You're a great capper, man, and thank you for sharing with us. You're a good man. And Coin has dropped his action for us. He's on the under 8 in the Pirates game. He's on a St. Louis Cardinal Toronto Blue Jay moneyline parlay at plus 204. He's on the Orioles on the moneyline full game at plus 140. I think I'll be joining you on that one. That's a Babano look as well. Oakland first 5 moneyline at plus 100. That's another look that I believe I will be joining you that Babano is on. Cincinnati over 10, also at minus 110. And that was a lean for Babano. We'll see if he pulls the trigger on that. I think you have a good looking card, Coin. All right, let's move on to the final game on today's card. San Francisco Giants 48-44, 22-22 on the road at the LA Dodgers, 61-30, 31-13 at home. We're at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. Logan Webb going up against Tyler Anderson. My first instinct was to back the Dodgers here, and I stopped myself when I looked at the line history and where the cash was. So let's talk it out here. We'll start with the weather at Chavez Ravine. They did a nice job with the All-Star game, and God, what a city LA is. 75 Fahrenheit, 5.6 miles per hour, out to right center, dies to 3.5 by the end of the game. Move over to the cash here. In this one, we have a 5-cent move to the Dodgers. That's it. 5 cents to the Dodgers. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5, slightly juiced to the over. It's now at 8, slightly juiced to the under. Then we will move over to the cash here in this one. Excuse me. The Giants, Dodgers, Webb, Anderson, 6,393 tickets in. 22% of the tickets are on the San Francisco Giants and 71% of the cash. That's a huge, so big bets coming in on the Giants. Then you have 73% of tickets and 88% of cash on the over. Very interesting. Dominic, thank you for sharing that with us. I will share it. I'm going to move that over to my. You know what? I spent all day and night yesterday on. I capped the Del Mar card, the Woodbine card, the Saratoga card, and the Gulfstream card, baby. Fuck yeah! Let's go over. Sorry, Saratoga. That's race 7. Ooh, very interesting. The 4 Naval Aviator. I've got that under my notes. Thanks, Dommy. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dominic Merrill. Okay, let's go back here. I apologize. Logan Webb on the road's been a little tough, a little worse than he's been at home. On the season, he's 9-3 with a 2.83 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. On the road, he's 2-1 with a 3.35 ERA, 2.15 opponent's batting average. His last start was a 9-5 win at home versus the Brewers. He looked good. It wasn't on him, the 5 runs that were allowed. He allowed 2 over 6 innings. It was the bullpen that let him down. A bullpen that's been bad all year. 4.25 ERA, 1.38 WHIP, though they have converted 19 of 32 save opportunities. Tyler Anderson, 10-1 on the year. 2.96 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. His splits, there's very little difference between his home and on the road, but he is 6-0 at home, 2.90 ERA, 220 points batting average. And he's coming off a great start at St. Louis, an impressive one against St. Louis team that's at times rakes lefties. 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks. The Giants are hitting 247, 771 versus lefties. It's amazing that I do believe I'm in the cash, the team total under that Nutflush got us on, season-long team total under for the Giants wins. But they're raking lefties, which is something we didn't think was going to happen. The Dodgers versus righties, 257, 784 OPS. Giants bullpen bad, Dodgers bullpen good. Take it away, Babano. Last game on the board, Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah, it's probably a game I'm not going to get involved with. I do want to point out the Logan Webb, 7 straight quality starts and a 1.37 ERA during that span. I mean, Logan Webb for the San Francisco Giants has found it again. Now, he kind of went through some struggles earlier this season, but he's pitched a whole lot better in his recent starts. Other than one start against Chicago, he gave up 5. He's been a 2-run or less guy in 6 of his last 7 starts. So he's given the Giants a chance every time. He faced the Dodgers 5 times this year. Hasn't pitched against them this year, but he faced them 5 times last year, 2 runs allowed or less in every start. So Webb has really done well against the Giants here, or against the Dodgers rather. Tyler Anderson, yeah, he's pitching great as well. I mean, just the recent form's been good. Giants are hitting lefties. Are they going to hit this lefty? That's the question, because he's also got some pretty good numbers against them long term. Anderson with a 1.86 ERA his last 3 starts, 2.9 ERA at Dodger Stadium. I guess I'd come close to, if you want to do the track your unders that you kind of like mentality, this would be one of them. I would lean to a first 5 full game under in this game, with Webb's form being outstanding in the last 7 starts and a good track record against the Dodgers. Anderson's in good form right now. I would lean first 5 full game under, but not going to make an official play here.
I'm going to stay off this as well, but we're talking about tracking the unders that you would be betting. This would be another spot where I should just flip, I guess. I'm not going to though, but clearly there's some big time sharp action on the Giants. All right, let's review all action. What a treat it is to roll with you, Babano, my guy. Don't forget, it's Ronnie and Bergia's birthday, Babano, and we are giving out a birthday pick to our guy Ronnie, so start preparing that. And it's Leonard Porsche's birthday tomorrow. Says all he wants is a CFL birthday pick. We did give him the Elks and told him to wait and be patient. All right, in CFL, Babano's on the Elks, full game plus 8.5 in the over 48. I'm going to move on the Elks, but I will wait for a better line. On Sunday, we already have Babano on the Argos plus 6, I believe, right? Plus 6?
Yes.
And plus 6. And that's
plus 5.5. Actually,
5.5. Okay. And that didn't get voided with the date change for Babano, so he's in a really nice spot there. And it's down to a 1-point spread right now with the Roughriders -1, which could change easily because they're dealing with COVID. Now let's move on. Oh, and by the way, Dizzy Rothstein made a big bet on the under in that Dodgers-Giants game. All right, let's go through action. First off, Dami Gunrici shared his action with us. Tampa Bay -118, Oakland under 7.5 -115, Phillies first 5 under 4.5 -115, and the Mets run line at +120 for Dami Gun. I'm on the Reds first 5. I made 4 bets before the show started, and then during the show I did double up my action on the Jays, which I almost never do. I try to be very strict with keeping everything just one unit. But I'm going to be betting the horses. I'm going to be drinking Kraken, and
this sounds like a great Friday. Yeah,
this is like heaven.
And I'll be there. I'll probably jump in around 8:00 tonight, right before an hour or so, right before the CFL game starts, and we'll get in on the festivities.
What a show! What a group of shows we have at Pub Sports Radio today. We're just rolling, rocking and rolling. There's going to be 2 shows live all day and all night here, and I'll go over them right before we put a bow on this. But I'm on the Reds first 5 +125. Was not a popular look, and I like it. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is the Philadelphia Phillies. Babano gets his card started with a Pirates double up, first 5 in full game. And I find myself interested right away. I expect to move on it. And this was one of the spots that we are now going to start tracking. Babano leaning to the under in this one. Then Babano doubles up on the Orioles, first 5 +126, full game +137. I like it as well. Yes, overtime. That's CFL's Canadian Football League, and I know that a lot of people don't want to talk about it. We just make so much fucking money off of it, and it's a 9-team league, so it's pretty easy to start capping it. That we just aren't going to stop talking about it ever. We're going to talk about it as long as we keep eating off of it. Then Babano's on the Mets, first 5 -0.5 -110, backing Maximus Scherzer. I doubled up on the Blue Jays, first 5 full game. I got just -120 and -125. Other way around, I got -125 on the first 5, -120 on the full game. And then Babano got the -120 on the full game. I'm on the Angels, first 5 at +110. I think that it feels like that's just a public schmuck bet, but I just couldn't stop myself. Babano's on the Cleveland White Sox over 8 at -120. We stayed off Rockies, Brewers. He's on the Rays -125. I'm going to take some more time in that. I just, going back to this spot, Brad Keller is shutting down weak offenses, and the Rays are hitting 235, 683 OPS versus righties. So if we think Rasmussen is going to be better than he's been on the road, doesn't this just lead us all to an under now? What do you think?
Keller is just, every single time I've started to buy into, here's a couple of good starts for Keller, and then bam, he gets lit up, and that's the one concern. But I don't think the Royals are going to put a ton of runs on the board tonight against Rasmussen and the Rays bullpen. So I don't hate it. I guess I would lean to it, but that's about it.
Hunter saying Keller can blow up easy. Yeah, he can, but he's just
pitching well
right now.
Yeah.
And I guess I would lean towards the full game under in that spot. JPZ looking at the no-run first inning says, what is it? I'll give it to a bet 365 because we know that they'll give you the worst number there. The no-run first inning is it's juiced to the run in the first inning heavily. -130 for a run in the first inning, plus 100 for no run. Okay. Then Babano, another double up on the Oakland Athletics. And he's had great success with these A's double ups here on Fridays. He's on the A's and Cole Irvin first 5 plus 102 and full game at plus 104. Then Babano's on the Arizona team total over 4.5 at -102. Lucas Ryan says, I think people forget this is Jimmy's show and you can talk about whatever he wants. Not really, Lucas. It's our show. And if you guys as a group were like, please stop talking about CFL, we would stop. I do want you guys to always know that you have an enormous voice. And Slaughter, he's the guy. He leads us by example. He lets us do whatever we want to do.
Yep.
It's your show as much as mine.
When I posted a show, Jeff Slaughter's never said, Ian, you got to talk about this. Ian, you can't talk about this. Never.
Yeah. He's
That's
always
the beauty of being here. Yep.
Autonomy. He's a yep. Just great guy. Okay, then Babano's on the Mariners at plus 114 and leans to the under in Giants Dodgers. And Coin also shared us with us his action. He's on the under 8 in that Pirates Marlins game. He's on St. Louis Toronto moneyline parlay plus 204, Baltimore moneyline plus 140, Oakland first 5 moneyline plus 100, and the over 10 in that Reds game. Is there anything that you wanted to add? You do have a pretty juicy card. Is there anything you wanted to add though, Babano?
Did I end up going with St. Louis Cincinnati over? Because I will add that if I didn't add it already. I'm going to add that. No, okay, let's do that with over 10 minus 115. St. Louis Cincinnati over. I'm going to add that. That'll be the only addition. I think I'm set after that.
There you have it. God, it feels good to be back with you guys. And we have a huge day here on the show. As you know, horse racing show starts at 3 p.m. God, maybe I started up a little.
I agree with Jimmy. Why would we not talk CFL on this show? Or like CFL's like major, not major like in terms of NFL and MLB and NHL and NBA, obviously. But look, it's every game you can get on ESPN Plus or ESPN2 or ESPN News in the United States. It's getting more coverage in the States than ever before. It's football, which is the kingpin sport for betting still. Obviously, we think more NFL and college, but it's still football. It's the sport everybody loves to bet the most. It's not like, hey, we're spending 30 minutes of the show talking about some Lithuanian soccer league or something. You know, this is the CFL. This is football. So I think it would be lunacy. Whether we win or lose long term in the league, it would be lunacy, I think, not to include CFL on the show.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Jonathan Yim, thank you. What a great way to put a bow on this. Thank you so much for the dono, man. It means a ton to us. Thank you so much. I can't wait till we all party together in Atlantic City, which will be soon. Jack Rosenblatt going to throw on the horses with us. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jack. It's going to be so much fun. But don't forget, we have a ton of great shows here on our channel today. 3:10 p.m. our guy Sharpie back in action with his prize picks, his props. Then 4:20 p.m. daily sesh with Dutch Boy Fresh and Dabra Cadabra. Then at 5:30
you want the
p.m.
stress and the anger of a bad day to go away? Watch that show with Dutch and with Dabby Cab. I mean, if you're stressed and you're angry and you feel like, geez, my life's going down the shitter, just relax, watch that show, the Daily Sesh, and man, you're going to feel more relaxed, and life's just going to be a whole lot nicer after that. It puts you in a good mood.
Contact high.
Yeah.
It does.
By the way, Jimmy, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. Peter Loshak going to join the Daily Sesh sometime soon.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And so will I, because we're going to keep this apartment we're going to keep it in the fam, obviously, but no one's going to move into it at first. And then I can't smoke in here. Ella is smart, knows what's going on. So I'm not going to make it stink like weed and answer those questions. But as soon as we move up and I still got this spot, then I will join the show here. Dennis Garcia says we should have more football. In fact, I think we should add tennis. That's a good idea. Overtime says you come into AC. I'm in New Jersey. When you come into me, we're planning it out. We're working on that right now. We are having a pub sports, a huge pub-a-palooza in Atlantic City on the East Coast where we can roll with all you guys. It's going to be coming up. And there's the buy me a coffee thing. So we've raised a bunch of money already, and it's all going into us. So all the hotel rooms will be paid for. Hopefully we'll be able to pay for like food and some parties as well. So huge party in Atlantic City where we all get to party together. And we're fun, man. We are a fun group. We're not like there's some other groups that, get together, have get-togethers, whatever, and they sit around. I don't know what the fuck they do. But we party, we have fun, and we gamble heavy on everything, including cornhole. Huge show for Jose today with Connor Mack and a huge, huge group of games. So that's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and Jose been running so nice. I love it. I love it. Let's put a bow on this because I've got to get ready for the fucking ponies. I got to get ready for the ponies. What do you got, my man, Jose?
I was going to let you know, say hey play for the show will be the Blue Jays first five.
Attaboy.
I'll do minus a half to keep the juice down. But there's the play of the day for say hey. And yes, I'll be on the horses. I'll be there. I think it'll be like, in kind of an hour before say hey plays. So join us there. It'll be a fun time, obviously. My vast knowledge of horses will be on display, of course. If you're a horse betting amateur, more than welcome to join. There won't be any judgments. If you ask questions like, what does win, play, show mean? There you go. There's a question that no one make fun of you when asking. There's a good questions. We're good guys. So yes, the horse racing stream. Shout out to Sharpie and shout out to Razor, of course.
Yeah, in fact, it's the perfect place to learn. We're open to all. We just want the sport to grow. It's the sport of kings, baby, and it's being neglected. It started growing when the pandemic happened. Everything shut down except for the equine athletes. So I love it, and you call the races beautifully. But Bano, my man, could you please, after I give a shout out to a bunch of the great cappers that support the show and make it special, we're going to need you to let's us out of here. Fat Wally, Joe Yurkovich, Billy Friedrich, Jeffrey Moore, Overtime, Jamal Martin, Brewers Mets Moneyline Parlay for Jamal, Jack Rosenblatt, thank you for the dono, Dennis Garcia, Overtime, Joko, Saturated, Jay Peasy, who drops our opening song for our show and for our big 420 show every day here. Johnny Guns, Ronnie and Bergia, happy birthday, Ronnie. Oh, we didn't give a birthday pick. Okay, there we go. Birthday pick time. I know what mine is. I know what my birthday pick is. The say hey play today, but I don't think you need to take it at first 5 minus a half, a plus 103. I respect that Jose did, but if you can get a minus 120 or better, I wouldn't mind keeping the push in business here. So my say hey play today is the Blue Jays first 5. Sorry, that's my birthday pick to Ronnie and Bergia. Ian Cameron, what is your Ronnie and Bergia birthday pick?
All right, birthday pick. I'm going to go with the Red Hot Seattle Mariners. I have to. Plus 114. They've treated me so well. They're a home underdog. Great value. And on their birthday, value means everything.
I love it. I love it. Billy Friedrich says, big UFC card tomorrow at noon, too. My boy Clint doing big work on that weekly. Yes. What a great friend.
Let's do over for the CFL birthday bet. Someone wanted a CFL birthday bet.
Yeah,
Let's do
you're
the
on
over.
the over?
Yep.
I like it. I'm on the Elks. Full
Jimmy,
game.
I'll keep you this in your tickler file now.
Sure.
Next week, Juliana Pena back again. And we all remember what happened last time. We might have to get Clint on the show for that. We might have to.
I would like that. Thank you all so much. It's so great to be back in action with you guys. Let's have ourselves a huge Friday. But I truly mean it. We have no show without you guys. Thank you for your support. Babano, any last words? And then could you close it with a leche?
We sure will. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button. We love you guys. It's great. This is just a great family affair. We all work together to beat the books and make money and profit. And it's a beautiful thing. And I love being here with Jimmy and you guys every single Friday. And join us for the horse racing stream, Cash It Fridays, Razor Sharp Jimmy. And yours truly is going to drop in tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's have a great Friday. Let's enjoy the games and good luck. Cash some tickets, make some money, and leche, los bookmakers.